acting like a man who's unsure of his future. His Oakland A's are the hottest team in baseball right now, and they visit the Kansas City Royals next. Welcome to ESPN2 Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel in sizzling Kansas City, Kauffman Stadium. Almost as hot on the mound as the A's as a team are at the plate. And that's left-hander Mark Mulder, who over his last 3 starts has 2 shutouts, strung together 22 consecutive scoreless innings, and he goes tonight for the red-hot A's. Welcome to Kansas City, Dave Barnett and Rick Sutcliffe. And as hot as Mulder has been, all the A's hitters are falling in line. And in the case of the reigning American League MVP, Jason Giambi, that involves putting an awful lot out of his mind when he's on the field.
Well, the MVP is at it again. You don't know where he's going to be 10 days from now, but you know he's in the Oakland lineup tonight. One of the most respected players in all of the game of baseball because he's so unselfish. He won't expand the zone. He'll take the base on ball rather than trying to pad his statistics with an RBI. He's the type of guy that considers his year depending on how the team is in the standings rather than where he's at offensively.
He may not even be the hottest member of his family right now. Well, when you're playing the way Oakland is, it's not just hitters, it's pitchers doing their job every night, and every member of the young Oakland starting rotation is doing it, and we get to see Mulder tonight.
What a luxury they have in having 2 #1 starters, Mulder along with Tim Hudson. How can you say he's a #1 starter? You look at 2 statistics. You look at wins and you look at innings. Both he and Hudson are in the top 5 in the American League in those 2 categories.
Meanwhile, Kansas City thought they were ready for a breakthrough season this year. They improved by 13 games last year to 8 games below 500, but they start play tonight 23 games under 500. What has happened here in Kansas City?
Well, it's pretty obvious. They have underachieved. And what has been the problem for that? Well, the same luxury that Oakland has with 2 #1s, Kansas City does not have 1. Potentially, they've got some guys that could step up, but they have not done that as of yet. And that becomes devastating to your bullpen. In the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, Kansas City has been outscored by 66 runs this year.
Oakland has a chance to make some history. No team has ever scored double figures in 3 consecutive games in a series in Kauffman Stadium. But the swinging A's have a chance to do that tonight. Oakland, Kansas City, next.
ESPN2 Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Nextel, how business gets done. And in part by Red Zone from Old Spice, intense protection for intense people.
Tonight on ESPN2 Sunday Night Baseball, are we seeing Jason Giambi's final days as an Oakland A?
That's the tough one right now. I guess we'll find out in 9 days. You know, I mean, the only thing that I keep trying to tell my teammates and the team is that we can only control what we can do, and that's show up to the ballpark every day and play as hard as we can. You know, and if we get to that 9th day and we're in that wild card race, hopefully we'll be buyers. You know, hopefully we'll be getting guys to get us over the hump.
And Mike Sweeney talks about restoring the Royals' pride.
I think the fans here in Kansas City are hungry for a winner. And early in the season, they came out, supported us, and after our tough start and first tough 3.5 months, they've kind of fallen away. But I think if Mr. Glass, our new owner, can, you know, put some money into this team, keep some players around, and the main thing is turn this team into a winner, I think Kansas City is going to be just like it was in the mid-'80s.
Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, 3rd game of a 4-game set, all Oakland. In these first 2, they have destroyed Royal pitching, and Art Howe has his team as close as they have been since April 11th to the postseason picture in the American League. The Nextel starting lineup for the Oakland A's, including the MVP batting cleanup for Art Howe, and Jason Giambi talked about that change.
So we just sat down, you know, Art, myself, and we just kind of went through that. Well, let's put me in the 4-hole and maybe put somebody in front of me, and we'll try to work that. So maybe I'll get some opportunities because Jeremy will take his walks and things like that. Maybe I'll get some more opportunities with guys in scoring position. Well, it's worked out. He's cleaning the bases. I got nothing left by the time I get up there.
And that very formidable lineup at the moment against Jeff Suppan, 26-year-old right-handed starter out of Oklahoma City for the struggling Kansas City rotation.
Yeah, Suppan's really one of the big reasons there was a change at pitching coach for the Kansas City Royals. Al Nipper is now holding down that position. He was a 10-game winner both of the last 2 years, but just 4-8 on this year. He's a competitor. He's not afraid to pitch in, and they say that's the big difference that Al Nipper has brought to this staff. More aggressive.
Suppan finished strong last year of his last 11 decisions as you look at the Royal defense behind him tonight.
Out there in right field is Jermaine Dye. Not the publicity of Jason Giambi as far as maybe being traded before the deadline, but certainly the rumors persist. Dye with the Gold Glove last year. He was also voted to the All-Star team, which tells his overall appeal in baseball.
Umpiring crew tonight, including Tony Randazzo behind the plate. Chris Guccione is at first, Ed Montague at second, and Paul Schreiber at third. So the Oakland Bats will try and do it just like they have the last 2 nights. 14-3 they won Friday with 16 hits, 6 doubles, and 2 Eric Chavez home runs. And they did it again in double figures fashion last night, a 10-1 victory. They've outscored the Royals 24-4 in the first 2 games of this series. Johnny Damon, the former Royal, settling in, leading things off for Oakland at 247. That is as high as his average has been all year. He's raised it 36 points over the last 29 games.
Kind of a mixed reaction by the fans here tonight. Some applauding, some booing. But the ones applauding realizing it wasn't Johnny Damon's fault that he was traded. It's a small market team that just could simply not afford his salary.
Well, they weren't mixed his first time in here, May 22nd, 23rd. He got some A-Rod type treatment. And then when they came back for the second series Friday, very few boos mixed in.
Well, I think as much of that was directed at the front office of the Royals as it was Johnny, because they know what a good player is, and they knew this club was getting better.
Suppan gets him looking at the knees.
This is exactly what the Royals young staff talked about. The difference with Al Nipper has been command of that inner half of the plate. A lot of times they would show you in and just get you out of the way the first half of the year. They have changed that philosophy now. They are pounding that fastball in.
Now the second baseman, Frank Menachino, foul ball back to the screen. Menachino, who has stepped in at second base for the disappointing Jose Ortiz, and already a career high with those 11 home runs. All of them hit at night, 8 of them away from Oakland. So this is his ideal situation, a night game on the road. He's driven in 49, good number for a number 2 hitter.
And that's what the number 2 spot is all about, situational hitting.
1-1 pitch back to the screen. The temperature humidity index, you're familiar with that. You live here. You know how miserable it can get. It was as high as 113 earlier today, and it's down to a much more comfortable 107 right now. 97-degree first pitch temperature. It's the hottest spot in the country. And again, Menachino back to the screen.
You know, I grew up in this heat, but playing high school baseball in summer, it just didn't seem to be as hot as it is now. I'm sure it was, but.
Well, my question is, how did anybody survive when this was an AstroTurf field, for crying out loud?
Oh, you could just see the heat 2 feet up off of the field.
Again called strike 3. And Suppan strikes out Damon and Menachino to begin the game.
Well, it's one thing to tell a pitcher to pitch inside. It's another thing to teach him how to do that. And how you do that is you tell him to basically put blinders on. If you see the hitter, you got no chance to pound that fastball in. But forget about him. He's not there. It's just like you're throwing in the bullpen, you and the catcher. Thus far, Suppan has been able to do that.
Now, we kiddingly said that Jason Giambi is not even the hottest member of his own family. That's actually statistically the case right now. Jeremy, with Jason on deck, has a career-high hitting streak going. It's at 10 in a row. That's also the longest current streak in the American League. And he finds the inside corner for strike one on Jeremy. 452 with 15 runs batted in this 10-game hitting streak.
Tony Muser, the manager of the Royals, has to look out and think about what might have been. Jeremy was with the Royals at one time, but traded. Mainly because of an injury. When Jeff King retired, Jeremy was going to be the everyday first baseman, but he had a hamstring injury. He was not able to play every day, and that's when Mike Sweeney got the opportunity that he just has not let him go of.
That deal has not really worked out too well for the Royals. Brett Laxton, who is now 2-4 at AAA in long relief, and $25,000. All they got for Jeremy Giambi. Suppan thought he had a third straight called strike three. Instead, the count is full. Turns out they gave up on Jeremy just as he was ready to bloom, just 26 years of age. And the 3-2 pitch bounced weakly to second baseman Ordaz, and a 1-2-3 first for Suppan. And the red-hot left arm of Mark Mulder ready to take the hill for Oakland. The A's go in order in their half of the first inning, and now Kansas City will step in against Mark Mulder. Kauffman Stadium still filling up. And the Nextel starting lineup for the Royals. Mike Sweeney, the cleanup hitting first baseman for Tony Muser, talking about his limited knowledge of Mulder.
Well, I've only faced him one time in my career, and he's got good stuff. He's got a, sharp fastball. He's got a good off-speed pitch, and he was a big young kid who's aggressive. So hopefully that we could, counteract that aggressiveness with our aggressiveness.
No question he's aggressive. In his last 3 starts, he's 3-0 with an ERA under 1. But equally impressive, in those 3 starts out of 27 possible innings, the young left-handers pitched 25 of them.
Donnie Sadler, midseason acquisition from the Cincinnati Reds, looks at ball one. Sadler tonight in his 5th different position in just his 21st game as a Royal, as he starts for the first time in center field. He's played second, third, short, and left prior to tonight. And just has not found his stroke this year. 186 combined with Cincinnati and Kansas City. 11 wins, tied for 3rd in the American League. He's 9th in earned run average. And 1st with 3 shutouts, 2 in the last 3 outings for Mulder. Sadler's chopper right to Menachino, 1 gone. Oakland defensively as Damon, the former Royal, in center, and Terrence Long, terrific defensive right fielder.
Yeah, Terrence Long can do so many things, but he's finally comfortable. Rather than being the leadoff hitter, he's going to hit in the latter part of the lineup, 5th, 6th, or 7th. Instead of playing in center field, he's going to play right field. That's his position. Take a look at the range, the effort, the arm strength, and the result.
A very surprised Raul Ibanez thrown out trying for the double. And Ray Sanchez with a first base hit as he singles to right field. Mulder, in his last 4 starts, had retired the side in order in the first inning, but it doesn't happen tonight.
A little sinking fastball. Not a whole lot of tilt to it at the end was the reason it did not create the ground ball that Mulder was wanting. He's got movement to both sides of the plate with that fastball. His comfort zone is 88 to 90, but he can elevate that velocity to 95 when needed.
So Carlos Beltran with Sanchez aboard. 1 out. The DH tonight batting 3rd, and he takes a strike. Beltran at 270. Off a tumultuous 2000 season where he hit only 247 with 7 home runs. Almost doubled that total this year. All most people remember was his refusal last year to take a rehab assignment after he'd missed almost the month of July entirely with a deep bone bruise. So they suspended him for what amounted to insubordination until late August, and then he finally did rehab for 2 weeks in the minors, finished up the season back here in Kansas City. People were asking a lot of questions about his attitude after that episode.
Yeah, you know what, you hear that, and that's the first thing you think, that he's a bad kid. That is as far from the truth as it could be. This youngster just had bad advice. People telling him not to do that. He didn't have to. Well, maybe he didn't have to, but it was the best thing for him and the team, and he learned a valuable lesson.
1-2. Of course, 2 years ago, he proved how talented he can be when he's in every night. He was the American League's near unanimous Rookie of the Year. And just the third Royal ever to score 100 and drive in 100 in one season. Mike Sweeney, the cleanup hitter, on deck. Sweeney trying to end a slump of his own here tonight. Mulder inside to Beltran, and it's 2-2.
You can see the natural movement to Mulder's fastball is a little cutter to run in onto the hands of the right-handed hitter. Big slow curve ball that he can take something off of to get ahead in the count. He can tighten the rotation to get the third strike.
Drives to the outside corner and missed it. And the count full to Beltran. Sanchez after the 1-out single. He is capable of stealing second base 9 out of 10.
It's a pretty tough move to run on, though. Big, long left-hander. And you can just tell the composure and the intelligence of Mark Mulder. He realizes that is a possible running situation. And go ahead, take a move. See if you can catch Sanchez napping, maybe pick him off. If not, you're going to keep him close enough to where if you can have the strike him out, you might get the double play on the throw him out on the same pitch.
He is going. And the foul ball back into the upper deck. 9 out of 10 for Sanchez. You're Tony Muser playing the way your team is. You might as well pull out some stops here early.
Yeah, it's not really a ball club that you can manufacture runs with. Take a look at that. His foot is already down before Sanchez has 2 steps. Catcher Greg Myers had to be licking his lips. If that ball could have gotten by Beltran, it would have been an easy caught stealing at second.
And again, a late jump as Beltran skies it to left field. Center fielder Damon drifting over for out number 2. So Mike Sweeney still has across the board impressive numbers, including the 9th best batting average in the American League, 3rd in total bases, 1st in doubles, 1st in extra base hits, 6th in total base hits, 4th 71 runs, but having a miserable month of July. 8 for 48 over his last 13 games. On the 4th of July, he was hitting .344. He has seen that average drop 23 points since July 4th. Hit hard right back up the middle. A diving Menachino is there to get it to Tejada for the force on Sanchez coming down. Defense ending the first inning for Oakland. Offense in the person of American League MVP Jason Giambi will lead off the second. Terrific play by Menachino. Into the second, Jason Giambi to be followed by Terrence Long and Miguel Tejada. The first pitch is high from Jeff Suppan. Nothing through the first. Suppan got Oakland 1-2-3, and now they get the MVP. 3rd in the American League in batting for the 2nd year in a row. 1st in walks, 1st in on-base percentage, 9th in homers, 9th in runs batted in. How much more could you do than what Jason is doing behind Jeremy for this surging Oakland A's team that's 14-4 in the month of July?
Think back to last year when the month of September started. Carlos Delgado, Alex Rodriguez, and Jason Giambi kind of neck and neck in that MVP race. Somebody had to step out And what a large step Jason took, leading his ball club into the postseason. Looks like he's about to take another big step this year.
Everybody wrote him off after their month of April, and it was easy to do. They were 8-17. This not expected after the season Jason had last year, and that his team collectively had a year ago. But they're 44-28 since that 4-month of April. If they had just gone 500 in April, right now, be right there for the wild card. As it is, they're only 4.5 out for the wild card.
Well, Jason was talking last night about how there was a lot expected out of some young guys, and it was just too much pressure from too many people. They lost Ben Grieve. They lost Matt Stairs. They lost Randy Velarde. Well, Jason reminded me that's 70 home runs and over 200 RBIs they had to replace. And the youngsters just didn't respond to the pressure the first 6 weeks of the season.
Still not quite the Seattle pace, but right now their sights are not set on the Mariners. They're 18.5 behind them. Driven well to center field. Sadler in his first start in center, back and can't get it, and runs hard into the dead center field wall and is down on the track as Giambi will jog into third. And Jermaine Dye will jog over to check on Donnie Sadler, who ran into center field full steam.
You mentioned earlier, Dave, that this is the 5th position that Sadler has played this year. The Royals want to find out what they have. What did they acquire from Cincinnati? Well, another thing Sadler's finding out are the dimensions of this ballpark. He simply did not know where the warning track was. Usually an outfielder, when he hears something different, he feels something different as he's running, knows the warning track is there. Look at the dent that he put into that center field wall trying to make that play.
Wall did some damage to Donnie, but he did some damage to the wall. One more look.
Well, this is a big ballpark. 400 to dead center. It's a fair ballpark in a day and age where it seems like everything is created for more offense. Giambi extending those arms. That's a pretty good pitch to most people. But listen to the impact here. You got to figure that it has something to do with that left shoulder, maybe a rib. But immediately you could see the look on his face. It might even be that right knee.
Listen one more time. Now, that's a tough guy. That is an all-state high school football player. Valley Mills, Texas, pride of that Central Texas community of about 1,000. High draft pick of the Red Sox. Started this year with the Reds, now Kansas City. In his 21st game with his new club. They have tested his versatility, which is really his calling card, that and terrific speed.
You know, you hope to begin with that it's just getting the wind knocked out of you. Anybody that's had that done knows that it's a scary feeling to begin with. But after 30 seconds to a minute, your breathing comes back to normal. It might be a little bit more serious than that with Sadler because he still looks like he's in pain when he takes a deep breath.
He is only 5'6", 175, but very solidly built. And as they check on Sadler, let's check in with Bill Pito.
Dave, thank you. As Nextel takes us to Colorado, the Dodgers and the Rockies are playing center field here as well. Mark Ruzilanek to center in the first. Juan Pierre decided to try to come in and gets all the way to the wall. Dave Christensen scores. Ruzilanek to third would later score. That made it 2-0. It's now 2-1 in the top of the second.
I think that's one of the most amazing stories in our game this year is the job Jim Tracy has done with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You go back to spring training and all of the publicity and trouble they were having with Gary Sheffield. You get into the season and your general manager gets into an argument with a fan and he has to resign. All of the injuries that the Dodgers have had. Kevin Brown on the disabled list for 3 times. Ashby out for the year. Dryford out for the year. And yet when you look at the standings, Jim Tracy has got his ball club right there in contention. Just a game and a half out coming into tonight's affair against versus Arizona.
Well, Tony Muser satisfied that Sadler will be able to stay in. Speaking of the Dodgers, you can see them against the Brewers Wednesday afternoon, 2 Eastern on an ESPN baseball special. First of a triple-header, which continues at 7 with the White Sox at the Indians. Some will see the Tigers and the Yankees. And on ESPN2 at 7, the Blue Jays against the Boston Red Sox. ESPN and ESPN2 triple header Wednesday. Sadler stays in. Giambi, after his 7th career triple and his 2nd this year, that's in 3,203 at bats over his career, is there with nobody out for Terrence Long, the right fielder. And Long, another Oakland hitter, swinging a hot bat. 3 straight games with multiple hits. He has 33 multi-hit games on the year. That's tops on the team.
Typical left-handed power hitter. Loves the ball down. Prefers it down and in.
Long has had to change his job description as Damon has become the center fielder. That was Long's position 70 of their first 72 games. Now tonight he's 25th out of the last 27 in right field. He's there one way or the other every game. His 173rd consecutive appearance, and he is down on 3 pitches. Thad Bosley, the A's hitting instructor, nice enough to wear a microphone for us tonight. This is what he had to say moments ago. Well, we'll check in again and try and eavesdrop on Thad. Miguel Tejada takes it low. The shortstop with, again this year, terrific power numbers. Second among all American League shortstops, only trailing A-Rod. Also the case last year, and he drives one through on the right side to make it 1-0 Oakland. Tejada has his 61st run batted in.
Tejada last year just the 9th shortstop in history to hit 30 home runs. Overall, it's happened 17 times by those 9 guys, and you just wonder how many more people would know about Miguel Tejada if he could simply be a shortstop in the National League and not be stuck behind A-Rod and Jeter and Nomar and Vizquel.
Eric Chavez, a double play ball. Ordaz, Sanchez, and quickly in time to get it to Sweeney and end the inning. But Oakland with the leadoff triple by Giambi, shaking up Sadler for a while. Tejada drove him in, and it's 1-0.
Get closer to the game. Closer to the action. As ESPN makes television history, bringing you baseball as you've never seen it. A special 3-hour Baseball Tonight showcase. Live updates, more analysis. Your ticket to Major League Baseball. Tuesday, 8 p.m.
Well, Donnie Sadler survived that frightful collision with the center field wall. Let's again listen in on the A's hitting instructor Thad Bosley's reaction to that triple.
Yeah. Get up, baby. Get up. Get up. Get up. Ooh, he's down.
I'm only laughing because Donnie's smiling.
Not a whole lot of sympathy for former outfielder Bosley there. I'm sure he's had the very same thing happen on more than a few occasions.
There's no doubt, and I was the pitcher on the mound that caused him to run into some of those walls.
Jermaine Dye leading off the bottom half of the 2nd inning. Kansas City trailing 1-0. Dye at 270. So many A's who are streaking at the right time. So many Royals are as cold as they've been all year. Dye is in that category. A 206 month of July with only 1 home run. And in a little over a month now, only 5 extra base hits. That's over 28 games since June 19th. 2 doubles, 3 homers out of a guy that had 33 homers and drove in 118 last year in a career year. Well, they know he's capable of more than he's showing right now. The 0-2 pitch, gloved by Chavez. And the bounce handled on the nice scoop by Jason Giambi. Well, Tuesday night, Join ESPN at 8 Eastern for a 3-hour Baseball Tonight special. Get updated on every game on the schedule, including David Cohn's bid for his 6th win. Astros' Wade Miller going for his 12th. Houston battles the Cardinals at night. Randy Johnson and Freddie Garcia, both after their 13th victories in key series out west. Carl Ravitch, Dave Campbell, Buck Showalter, Peter Gammons, our own Rick Sutcliffe, breaking down the latest news on the upcoming trade deadline. A Baseball Tonight 3-hour special beginning at 8 Eastern on Tuesday. And it is that time of the year where so many guys are wondering whether their address is going to become August 1st.
Well, you know, Jermaine Dye is one of those guys, and it just gives you that much more respect for how Jason Giambi has handled the trade rumors.
Mark Quinn rolls one to Tejada for out number 2 in the second.
Equally as well as Jason Giambi has handled the rumors of him being a Cub or being a Yankee or a Red Sox, you know, it's bothered Jermaine Dye. You pick up a Kansas City paper every day, he's going somewhere. Some general manager called about him, and it's just obviously bothering Jermaine right now.
Part of the game. Some, like Giambi, handled it with complete aplomb. Others struggle with the idea that their current team may be willing to give up on it. Of course, that's one way to look at it. Another is and say, well, that many teams appreciate my value, that they show interest in getting me away from my current team.
You know, we were down in Houston last week when Fred McGriff vetoed the trade to the Chicago Cubs, and they weren't real upset that the Cubs didn't get Fred McGriff, because if they would have gotten McGriff, then they definitely wouldn't have picked up Jason Giambi. They think with McGriff turning down that deal, the Cubs have turned their attention to Jason.
The Astros very much appreciating McGriff's family values. They are that much more catchable without him at first. Art Howe wondering, along with everybody in the Bay Area, can a team as hot as Oakland, making a serious bid for a second straight postseason, afford not to keep somebody like the reigning MVP? What kind of statement are you making to your fans who are coming out now the way, you know, for several years they didn't? The support is starting to return, but if all of a sudden he's no longer there August 1st, what are you telling your fans about your intentions as a franchise?
Well, what are you telling your young players that look up to Jason Giambi as not only the leader on the field, but without a doubt their leader in that clubhouse?
Mulder's 3-2 pitch again back to the upper deck off the bat of Joe Randa.
Jason was saying last night that, you know, they had an opportunity to sign him. The one thing that held it up was they did not want to give him a no-trade clause. And he said, that's silly. Well, I've got leverage right now. Why would I not get that in the contract? I like Oakland. Well, they made a big mistake because his value has done nothing but go up. You know, to me, it reminds me of what Sammy Sosa did last year in the home run derby. And, you know, ESPN deserves a little credit for that because of the ratings and broadcasting that home run derby. Sosa sets the world on fire. Everybody gets excited. The Cubs get more pressure put on them. They eventually sign him. Jason did the same thing this year in Seattle when he hit 14 homers in that first round.
Randa down on strikes. First strikeout for Mulder. A 1-2-3 second. Johnny Damon will hit at the third. Oakland leading 1-0.
ESPN2 Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by Kia, makers of darn good cars with a darn good warranty, and by Quiznos. Toasting makes it better.
In the third, Billy McMillan. Greg Myers then the top of the order. Johnny Damon for Oakland, which forged a 1-0 lead in the second on a Jason Giambi triple and an RBI single by Miguel Tejada. McMillan began the year with the Detroit Tigers. Mid-June they waived him, and Oakland signed him off waivers June 13th.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me if he put together some big hits for Oakland down the stretch here. Their general manager, Billy Beane, really has a knack for evaluating talent. Last year, picking up Gil Heredia, Jeff Tam, Olmedo Saenz out of the minor league free agent pool.
Well, he's already starting to do it after a horrendous first half. 089 over his first 3 months, mostly with Detroit. But here in the month of July, he's another hot egg, 372 over 14 games this month.
Here's a look at Ron Gant, recently picked up from Colorado, kind of in a platoon situation in left field.
Driven well to center. Sadler drifting back again. That was trouble last time, but this time he backs ever so gently into the wall in center and hauls it in. Well, we're talking about Jason Giambi's situation. He says, hey, I lived through the tough times. I want to see the good times in Oakland.
I've been here the whole time. I know what it's like to lose 97 games. You know, I signed an under-market deal to avoid arbitration so I could stay there because I really felt we were building something special. You know, with the young kids, Billy Beane had done an incredible job of making some trades here and there and bringing up these young kids. And I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to see it all the way through. And I think that was the tough part. They didn't want to be locked down for those years, which I can understand with that no trade. But at the same thing, that's very important to me to see this thing all the way through.
Greg Myers, who last night homered for the first time as an Oakland A. Picked him up in a minor league contract June 24th after he was released by Baltimore. So another Billy Beane midseason acquisition.
And this young pitching staff already enjoying throwing to the veteran Greg Myers.
Tonight his 9th start at catcher. Mulder will be followed tomorrow by their ace Tim Hudson. Final game of this 4-game series.
Myers has always been a better offensive player than defensive. This is a spot right here where he can turn a fastball around in a hurry. You get the count in his favor. He's dangerous.
3-2.
See how dangerous? Bull kind of adjusting right there a little bit. He pulled off of that. He's big and strong enough that he can hit the ball out to all fields. Got caught cheating a little bit on that last fastball.
This one grounded to Ordaz at second base, 2 outs.
You know, listening to that answer from Jason Giambi about the free agent, he has a right, you know, to see the good times here in Oakland. And I just stop and think about if the spot that they're in right now, they put themselves in. They could have got it done in spring training and they didn't. If they don't sign him and he leaves via the free agency at the end of the year, they're gonna get a draft pick. This organization, which has done such a great job getting back to being a contender, can all of a sudden see that carpet pulled out from underneath them.
Really, they turned themselves back into the Kansas City A's of the 50s that used to develop talent that would eventually help the New York Yankees win world championships. You know, a lot of people wouldn't be surprised if that's where Giambi ends up if he does leave Oakland. But their franchise really at a crossroads. Are they going to be a contender year in, year out and pay the price for that, or develop talent for others? Damon pops out at say 1-2-3 third for Suppan, and it remains 1-0 Oakland. Mark Mulder has allowed 1 hit through the first 2 innings. He gets the 8-9 hitters. Here in the third, Hector Ortiz, the catcher. He'll be followed by Luis Ordaz, the second baseman, and then the top of the order, Sadler. Ortiz at 236, looking for his first home run. His 44th start behind the plate. He has spent some time at AAA Omaha. 10 games he was sent down. Now back behind the plate and catching Jeff Suppan tonight. And from Masscam, what it looks like if you're Greg Myers.
Well, I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like it's nasty and it's filthy. That's the way Jason Giambi described the stuff of Mark Mulder. Said he's got that downward plane, 6'6" tall. He comes from that point. He comes down to your knees. He's got enough velocity to get away with the high fastball. He's got the curve if you give up on it, which will drop into the zone.
That one finds the corner, 3-1. 6'6", 210. He is not yet 24 years old. His birthday August 5th. Out of Michigan State. Hits that one off his glove up the middle, and a base hit for Hector Ortiz. Well, as Rick said, Jason Giambi very much impressed with what he's seen from young Mark Mulder so far.
Mulder, this is a kid that uses his height very well. I mean, he's like 6'5", 6'6". He, throws a lot like you did on that downward plane, great cutter, big curveball. And now he's just really getting that confidence factor. He knows when he steps on that mound now, it's going to be tough to beat me.
And Oakland knows that when he's on the mound, they're going to be tough to beat. And it just helps you relax as a team offensively when you know your starting pitcher is going to keep you in the game and go deep into the game.
Strike one to Luis Ordaz, the second baseman. He spent some time on the DL with a left quad injury that cost him 38 games between May 18th and when he was finally activated July 1st. So just his 25th appearance of the year. Mulder, the second overall pick in the 1998 draft out of Michigan State. Pat Burrell, the first pick that year. Tim Hudson,
you want to know how
starter.
Well, you don't know how hot it's been. Most of the time, a starting pitcher will get his work in before batting practice, but there was no way Hudson was going to go down there into that tunnel with temperatures right at the 100-degree mark. Let's wait till it cools off a little bit. That's a veteran move right there.
0-2 chopper on the left side, gloved by Chavez. Menachino, and not in time to double up Ordaz. So Luis safe on the fielder's choice, as Mulder will work to the top of the order. Donnie Sadler.
Just another intangible that Frank Menachino has brought to this ball club. The toughness we saw earlier when he made the great dive on the ground ball up the middle by Mike Sweeney to end the bottom of the first. Hanging in there on that double play. If Ordaz did not get down the line as quickly as he did, that would have been a double play and gotten his starter out of trouble. He's been a big difference for this ball club. All the players talking about him last night and before tonight's game. Last year he played the first month of the season when Randy Velarde was hurt. They forgot about how important he is.
Velarde moving on to Texas this year. And the job at second is Menachino's. Donnie Sadler, who shook off a major collision with the wall in center field on Jason Giambi's triple. Back in the second inning, his first at bat since then. He grounded to second, leading off the Kansas City first. His last base hit July 5th, 0 for 14 since then. Boston tried to get to use his speed, beat it more into the ground, and run more things out. He was a .242 hitter with Boston. And this year with Cincinnati and Kansas City, started a combined 186.
Well, he's just in a tough spot because he's got just enough speed and just enough power that he could be either type of hitter. And he's just not figured that out yet. Which guy is he going to be? Everybody likes to hit the home run, but that home run has not come often enough for Sadler. And it might be to the point now where he's got to give up on that. Start staying inside the baseball and using all fields.
Kid's got to understand, if you catch a foul ball, it's yours to keep. He threw it right back.
Well, that's not what we do at home, Dad. We always throw the ball.
Whoever catches that in the upper deck hangs on to it.
Always been such a great family atmosphere here in Kansas City. The wins have been far and few between, but the crowd support has always been there. What a beautiful complex. The Chiefs Arrowhead Stadium right next door.
It's 29th season of operation. And Royal Stadium opened in '73. State of the art back then. All right, what do? I show my quick delivery. Actually, it was an ambush.
There's a little jealousy there, isn't there? If I don't have a ball, you're not going to have one either.
Well, Well, the alert usher set everything straight. Well, you're right. Built in 1973. If they built it today, probably have a few more suites, but otherwise, it probably look exactly the way it does here 28 years later. Now, a retractable roof wouldn't be a bad idea on a day like today.
Well, the former owner, Ewing Kauffman, deserves so much credit.
Sadler's chopper shorthanded by Chavez, and Sadler's speed beats out that double play opportunity. Let's check in quickly in the studio with Bill Pito.
All right, Dave, thank you. Center field's been a busy place on ESPN and ESPN2 so far. Brent Butler to McKay Christensen, the rookie. Bad misplay. There were 2 runners on the bases. They both come in, and Butler, the batter, is going to come all the way around. A single and a 3-base error. 3 runs come in to score, and just like that, Rockies within 1, 5-4.
Well, they might get 22 again. They're on that pace anyway. 22 yesterday, their highest scoring game since the days of Brooklyn.
We thought we had something Wednesday night with 28 runs down in Houston.
Well, you did. 17-11.
You know, it was almost 4 hours long, but it honestly didn't seem like that. I mean, there was so much happening. It just, you know, when a pitcher works quick, and everybody in that game did. They didn't pitch very well, but they pitched quick. It just makes it more interesting to watch.
1-0 pitch to Sanchez, who has one of the 2 Kansas City base hits, a 1-out single in the first.
This is a young mistake right here on the part of Mulder. He made it on Hector Ortiz when he fell behind him 3-0. Guys hit 8th and 9th for a reason. It's because they struggle. Get ahead of them and put them away. You do not want to walk Ray Sanchez here. Guys hit 3rd for a reason as well.
Sadler at first, a stolen base threat. Without a great percentage, really, this year. 5 out of 8. But when Boston had him, they considered him probably the fastest player in the history of that franchise. Never a franchise that was built around the stolen base. But they got him in the 11th round in '94 to add that aspect to their attack. Tony Muser has that in mind with 2 outs. 2-1 count to Sanchez.
Tony was talking about being selected by Joe Torre to be a coach on the All-Star team, and what an honor that was, and what a storybook evening it was with Cal Ripken winning the MVP award.
It's going to go down as one of the more memorable All-Star games ever. The Sadler switch at short, the Ripken home run later.
I get a kick how people say it was a setup. You know, the fastball was 92 miles an hour. And just the night before, you watch the home run derby where you got a batting practice pitcher laying it in there, and guys are only hitting 2 and 3 out, you know, out of 10, 15 swings.
One of the more ridiculous comments of the year was the fact that people thought Park grew that. Myers' throw is way high and way late, and Sadler has his 6th stolen base.
Well, it goes right along with Mulder falling behind 2-0 to Ray Sanchez, because Sadler had an opportunity to see him come to home 4 times. He saw him go to first twice. Look at him off and running right there. Absolutely no chance for Greg Myers to throw him out. Pudge Rodriguez is not going to be able to get that ball there in time.
So the Royals with Sadler in scoring position with 2 out and a 3-1 count on Ray Sanchez. 3-2. Anybody that thought Park was trying to let Cal Ripken hit a home run did not pay any attention to home run derby. A's due up next half inning, including Jason Giambi, who was the only guy that looked like for most of that contest he could hit one out anytime he wanted.
Well, that's why it's so important right now to throw a strike. Sanchez is not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He does not have any home runs this year. They're going to score this inning. Make him be the one that does it. The next guy's got 13 home runs, over 50 RBIs, and you could find yourself behind in the ball game.
All right, Los Beltran on deck. And the 3-2 is again to the upper deck.
When you coordinate your defense, look how shallow Terrence Long is out there in right field. Johnny Damon in center. Look how deep Menachino is at second base. When you coordinate your defense along with your pitching plan, it makes it so difficult for a guy to pick up a base hit. They're trying to go hard and away from Sanchez, make him hit the ball in the direction you've got the most leather.
Mulder with another 3-2 and another base hit by Sanchez, who is 2 for 2. Here comes Sadler. Throw is cut off. 1-1. Sanchez rounding second, or rounding first, headed to second, is thrown out, and that ends the inning, but not before. He drives in Donnie Sadler with a tying run. We'll see Jason Giambi hit in a 1-1 game. First time in the series that Kansas City is actually hanging with Oakland. They tie it 1-1 as we move into the 4th inning. Menachino and then the Giambis. Jeff Suppan worked a 1-2-3 third. Struck out Menachino looking first time he faced him. Menachino hit by a pitch last night to get on in Craig Biggio fashion. It was the 13th time this year he's been hit by a pitch. That leads the American League and is 3rd in Oakland history.
He's such a gritty competitor. I found it funny after the game last night. He was still mad over the fact that when he dove for a ground ball, he just missed it. And right before that pitch, he had moved a step the other way. Well, they won the ball game big, but it cost a hit, it cost a run, and you know what? That's just the type of competitor this kid is.
Did you find on your better teams, your division-winning, pennant-winning teams, they were usually composed of perfectionists like that?
Yeah, there's always a chemistry guy.
2-2 pitches, bounce to Sanchez. 5 in a row set down by Suppan. Well, even if you're an NL MVP, you're Jason Giambi, you're not too old to learn from Dad.
He loves the game. I don't think there's a guy on the planet that loves baseball more than he does. So as soon as we were old enough, we had bats in our hands, and when we were kids, he taught us to hit with wood bats, you know, instead of metal bats, just so we could learn the feeling of hitting. And I mean, he can watch TV, like he'll watch the game tonight and give me a call if I have a good or bad game. You know, he'll definitely throw his, you were doing this, you were doing that. So it's pretty incredible.
Well, if he calls tonight, he's going to say, hey, a good triple, the 7th ever. 3,200 at bats.
Jason talking about how there's a reason. It's not a knock against the hitting instructor, Thad Bosley. His dad built that swing from day one in the backyard. He knows when it's going good. He also equally knows when there's problems there. Got it fixed quickly. Jason's off and running, and so are the Oakland A's.
2-1 to Jeremy, whose swing wasn't built too badly either by Mr. Giambi.
He was fooled badly by that 2-0 changeup, and that's when a pitcher's about to take that step into the next bracket, move up into being a big winner. Look at that. Now they're late on the fastball. A previous swing will dictate what the following pitch should be on most hitters. With a count 2-0, 3-1, a good hitter, as Jeremy Giambi is going to cheat. They're going to try to do some big-time damage. If you can throw the change for a strike or throw it down, you can get some help, followed up with a fastball. Your bat becomes a lot easier for you as a pitcher.
So 2 fastballs in a row in the low 90s. 2-2, what now?
I know you like to come back with whatever your strength is now. You've got 2 choices. You go to the hitter's weakness or your strength. The strength of Suppan is that good breaking ball down and in out of the zone.
That one stays high. Full count.
Well, they got through the first inning with 2 strikeouts and a weak ground ball to first, just painting that inside corner with the fastball. You could see him there wiping the sweat off his hand. The humidity here in the heat become a factor on that grip for a pitcher.
His 4th strikeout. 2 outs in the 4th. So Jeremy retired for the second time, and now Jason, who tripled and scored the Oakland run back in the second.
The ways that Jason explained what his father saw was a calf injury that Jason had changed his stance a little bit. He had widened his stance in the batter's box so that he could protect that calf injury a little bit. Well, what happened by widening his stance was that his hands had dropped a little bit. He was underneath everything as he was that pitch there. His dad saw it right away. A couple of different views. See how much taller he is here? I would imagine what happened before was that his leg was more so out in there. And what happened was he did not have the power. The baseball was in a different spot as he approached to hit it.
Father knows best. Slow into the break, red hot out of it. So the creator of the swing still at times can be the caretaker of it.
Such a close family. So tight. It's just great to see the relationship between Jason and Jeremy. They both give each other a lot of credit for their success. Jason talking about how, you know, having your best friend there, someone you can always lean on. You don't need somebody when you're going good, but when you're struggling, that's when you need help.
3-1. The Giambi brothers 4 years apart. Jeremy 26, Jason is 30. Both in the prime of their baseball lives. And Suppan walks him. Giambi for the second straight year leads the American League in walks and on base percentage. And let's hear from Bill Pito.
The right fielder, Terrence.
Dave, thank you. More fireworks. Dodgers, Rockies. Dave Hansen up for L.A. They're up 5-4 in the third. Dodgers coming in 2 games behind Arizona. The D-backs victorious today. Hansen second of the year. 6-4 L.A. bottom 3.
Unsung hero most years, Dave Hansen. Dodgers do anything, he's probably had a good year pinch hitting. A good night tonight. Terrence Long, the batter, the right fielder. Skies one to left. Mark Quinn had him played perfectly, and only a 2-out walk to Jason Giambi in the Oakland fourth. We'll see Sweeney for Kansas City in the fourth. Our game track through 3.5 innings, a 1-1 game. Jason Giambi's 7th career triple momentarily rendering Donnie Sadler injured, and then next batter Tejada singled him in 1-0 Oakland in the second. Sadler would have an impact later in a positive sense as he was driven home by Ray Sanchez with the game's tying run in the third. That's where we are, 1-1. Now the bottom of the fourth inning with Beltran, Sweeney, and Dye for the Royals. 2-0 from Mark Mulder, who has allowed the run on 3 base hits. His last 3 starts, his ERA is 0.72. So this is already one of the better jobs of getting to Mulder of anybody of late. That one driven hard off Chavez. Tejada has no play, and Beltran is aboard.
That could be a problem for Oakland right there. Talking with Tabby before the game, he was saying that that left thumb that has been injured is bothered more when he has to catch a baseball. Well, this is a rocket. Watch that ball coming. Look at right where it catches him. I mean, that is the area that he has had heavily taped when he takes batting practice and when he comes out before the game to take infield. He was in a lot of pain when it began. He said it's close to 90% right now. I'm not so sure if it's not right around that 50% mark after that bullet.
That would test it. He sprained it a week ago yesterday, and his swing really starting to come around the last 2 games, recovering from that sprained thumb. So they do not want a recurrence. Mike Sweeney retired on the fielder's choice his first time. Numbers good for Mike, but not recently. 8 for 49 over his last 13+ games since July 4th. Looking for his first extra base hit since July 2nd. So his swing is badly out of kilter right now. 0-2.
Well, he took that first pitch trying to give Carlos Beltran an opportunity to steal second and get into scoring position. Beltran 12 stolen bases this year without being caught, 27 consecutive times now. He has not been caught on a stolen base attempt.
Perfect this year and going all the way back to 99. He's perfect. Sweeney, the American League Player of the Month for June, so the bad numbers in July are all the more surprising. That one gets away from Myers, taking a big turn as Beltran headed for third. The throw gets it. Greg Myers gunning down Carlos Beltran with a strike to Chavez.
There's no way anybody in the Royal dugout will complain about that. They'll pat him on the back and tell him we appreciate the effort. You can't be afraid to take a chance in baseball. Carlos Beltran wanting to make a difference. He sees the ball get away. It's a changeup down in the dirt. Myers doing all he can. The ball comes up. It hits awkwardly off the mask. Beltran hustling all the way. Look at Chavez's foot there blocking the bag. You think this Oakland A's ball club don't want to win?
This one has popped up. Might stay playable for Myers. It won't. It'll be about 4 rows back.
I mean, Chavez already has an injured left thumb from the base hit off the bat of Beltran. Now he's taking a chance on injuring his ankle, but it's that important to keep the go-ahead run from scoring. Look at him blocking the bag. Look at the foot there. I know you're going to try to go to the back part of that base to beat the throw. I'm not going to let you.
Beltran knew it. Still 1-2. Chop foul by Sweeney.
You got a man on third base and nobody out. Mike Sweeney is going to drive in that run. He's that good. Best hitter in the American League last year with runners in scoring position. What a big throw by Myers and a gutsy play by Chavez at third.
Sweeney last year 385 with men in scoring position. Deep to left. Back McMillan. Gone. Solo home run for Mike Sweeney. 2-1 Royals. First extra base hit since July 2nd. And it's home run number 22 for the year.
68 RBIs on the year now for Mike Sweeney after he broke the club record last year. That's set by Hal McRae. Sweeney with 144 RBIs last year.
Base hit by Jermaine Dye. And the Royals, rather than any team that has recently faced Mulder, getting to him with some real shots.
Well, that's a good fastball there, and then Jermaine Dye was able to find it, put it in that hole between the first baseman and second baseman. I'm really confused with all of the changeups we have seen from the hard-going left-hander. It was a changeup to Ray Sanchez that drove in the first run. He's just so predictable. Anytime the count's 1-0 or 2-1, he's throwing changeups. Kansas City's got that figured out.
Sweeney giving himself a 28th birthday present. 28 today. And his team a present, a 2-1 lead. A very rare commodity in this series, which has been so dominated by the Oakland Bats, outscoring Kansas City 24-4 first 2 games of this 4-game set. Mark Quinn grounded to short his first time up. Injured a left hamstring, missed a couple weeks until July 6th. And struggled since. Only 1 home run since, and 11 for the year.
Imagine that. 1-0 changeup. Quinn literally about fell down taking a swing at it. That's what the big leagues are all about. When you have success, the league is going to adjust to you. And before you get hurt too bad, you have to readjust. Mulder needs a readjustment.
The book on him coming in, the fastball would hit low 90s. Cutter, changeup, but a really good curve. He's seen the mixture you would expect to see from him. And the book is also, if you get him away from Oakland, that's really your best chance of beating him.
Yeah, 5-5 on the road with an ERA of 4.5, 6-1 at home with an ERA of half that.
Chopper behind second base. Menachino, Tejada, and Giambi for the inning-ending double play. But Kansas City with the birthday boy Sweeney going deep as its first lead. 2-1 through 4 at Kauffman Stadium. Next Sunday on Sunday Night Baseball.
In 1998, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa captivated the nation with their assault on Roger Maris's home run record. Both surpassed 61, but McGwire came out on top with 70 homers. On Sunday night, Sosa and McGwire renewed their friendly rivalry. Sunday Night Baseball, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN.
It'll be a good one. Cubs locked in this fight in the Central Division with the Astros. Miguel Tejada bouncing one foul. Both teams shut out today, however, so neither Sammy nor Big Mac had anything at all to say this afternoon. Tejada drove in the Oakland run with a one-out single in the second, scoring Jason Giambi, who had tripled. Tejada with his 61st RBI of the year.
It's no different with Oakland than it is with the Cubs and the Cardinals. You keep Giambi from hurting you. You don't let him beat you. You don't let Sosa. You don't let McGwire beat you. You're in pretty good shape. Reichert got beat by Giambi in his first at bat. He didn't make the same mistake in his second.
Backhanded by Joe Randa on a long throw across. Retires Tejada. Well, Eric Chavez, first time up grounded into a double play, but what a series he's had. Friday, in his first start at third since he sprained the left thumb the previous Saturday, 4 hits, 2 homers, 6 RBIs. Last night, 2 doubles. As he continued his tear, 6 of 8 coming into tonight in the series with 3 doubles, 8 runs batted in, and 5 runs scored for the Oakland third baseman.
26 home runs last year, 153 games played. The team's youngest regular. All he needs to do is become a little bit more consistent, work the count as he is now. So easy to talk to a young hitter about being patient and then watch him utilize that during the game.
Just 23, young regular. It's always exciting to see a guy have happened to him what happened to Eric last year, which is the sudden discovery that he's got some power. He had 26 homers last year. That was double his total from the previous year. And right about that pace so far this year with 14. Bond's 2-1 pitch, hard but foul, 2-2.
Oakland as an organization really doesn't care a whole lot about the batting average. They care about runs scored or runs driven in. This guy could be a big run producer before it's all said and done. But even he last night was talking about they cannot let Jason Giambi go.
And a stop by Ortiz, 3-2. Well, as you said, it sends a very negative signal to your fans, probably even more so to the players left behind who came into this year hoping that Jason Giambi would lead them back into the American League postseason. That they would make it for the second year in a row, and this year go perhaps a round or 2 deeper. Chavez retired by Sanchez, 2 outs in the 5th. Now the wild card is what Oakland has its eyes set toward, because again 18.5 back. They're not going to catch Seattle, but only 4.5 behind the Indians. and 3.5 behind Boston. That's as of tonight in the American League wild card picture. They're just a game off their pace from last year, so they know they can play this level of ball because they did it just 1 year ago. 14-4 in this month of July, giving up only a team ERA of 2.18, an opponent batting average of 2.14. So there's not been a whole lot of pressure on the hitters with the job that the Oakland pitching staff has done. And that loose attitude has really been evident the way they've swung the bats in the first 2 games of this series. They have not lost consecutive games in nearly a month since June 24th to the 26th. 3 ground outs here in the 5th inning. McMillan retired by Ordaz. 2-1 Kansas City, halfway gone at Kauffman. ESPN2 Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. We move to the bottom of the 5th. Kansas City 2, Oakland 1. Dave Barnett, Rick Sutcliffe at Kauffman Stadium, where the sun is finally set, and I think the temperature humidity index may be back down to double digits. I sure hope so, because that fountain out there is looking very inviting the first 2 or 3 innings.
You know what might happen too is we might start seeing more breaking balls from the starting pitchers tonight. It's tough to have that grip and create that tight rotation when you're constantly sweating. We've seen mostly just fastball changeups first couple of times through the lineups. Let's see if we see a couple of hooks here now that they're able to grip it a little bit more consistently.
1-1 to Joe Randa. Struck out his first time up. Mulder has allowed 2 runs on 6 hits. This makes this his least effective start over his last 4. He shut out Arizona July 6th, and again his next start, the Dodgers, July 12th. Ran his scoreless streak to 22 consecutive innings before finally being scored on his next outing, July 17th. He was the first A in 7 years to pitch consecutive shutouts. Bobby Witt most recently in 1994. Not quite that level of command so far tonight from Mulder. And a hot shot, base hit up the middle for Randa. Well, this is not what Kansas City expected out of this year. 8 games under 500 last year. Mike Sweeney says he's very frustrated.
Coming into the season on paper, we had a great team. You know, coming off the last 2 seasons where we led the American League in batting average as a team, on paper we looked great. We had a lot of guys coming back after big years last year. Now, as we look at our team on paper, honestly, it's quite different than it was 4 or 5 months ago. And it is frustrating because, you know, I feel like we're a lot better team than we've shown. I mean, we have one of the worst records in all baseball, and it's to be honest with you, very embarrassing to be a part of it.
Well, all the expectations based on the continuation of the great offense that they showed last year. They had 3 players, including Randa, with 100 or more RBIs. Led the American League in hitting. This year they're middle of the pack, and the pitching is slightly better, but still with the team ERA of above 5, and so they have not been able to bludgeon their way to as many wins as they did last year. 77 wins last year, only 37 coming into tonight.
Could Mike Sweeney have been more honest?
He absolutely pulled no punches.
It's not his fault. I mean, 319 with 21 homers, another trip to the All-Star game. He's just not getting the help that he was expecting.
Mulder ahead 0-2 and waste one outside against Hector Ortiz, who singled his first trip. Sweeney's numbers pretty much on pace with last year, but not enough of his teammates can say that. Dye may struggle to get to 90 RBIs this year. Another shot up the middle, and it'll fall in front of Damon. Let's hear quickly from the studio and Bill Pito.
All right, Dave, a typical Coors Field affair. The Rocks and the Dodgers only in the 4th, and yet LA now has 8 runs. 2-run jack off the bat of Sean Green, his 25th of the year, and it's now 8-4 in favor of the Dodgers.
The game is far from over.
That race is far from over. Dodgers with all their injuries. Of course, Arizona has no sympathy. They've had at least as many injuries. But to see those two atop the National League West, really a testament to.
Don't forget the defending champions either.
Yeah, they're lurking.
Dusty Baker and those Giants.
They're lurking, but what a testament to the ability of people who were not counted on heavily when the year began, stepping in and having big years for both Arizona and by LA. It's kind of the opposite of what Mike Sweeney talked about. People who were expected to produce big, not doing it here in Kansas City. Ordaz lays down a good bunt and moves Randa to third and Ortiz to second.
There's some pretty good athleticism by the young starting pitcher of Oakland, and also mound presence, knowing the situation, what's going to happen. Check it out. Your first job is to throw a strike. Now you've got to go cover the line. He's off and running. Chavez had to come in case he could not get to the ball, but he had the range. He takes a peek at the runner right away just to see if something happened. He knows he's got time, looks up at the runner. All right, I can't get you. I'll take what you do give me, which is the out at first.
So two Royals in scoring position with one out in the fifth. And what a chance now for Donnie Sadler to get his first hit since July 5th. 0 for 15 since then. Acquired June 20th from Cincinnati. Chance to lead Kansas City out in front, maybe by 3 runs.
You want to know what your weakness is as a hitter. Here's a situation that will tell you what the opposing team scouting report is on you. Those last 2 fastballs hard in on the hands of Donnie Sadler. With a spot with 2 outs and nobody on, they're going to do some different things to you. But when they have to get you out, as they do here, this will tell you what your weakness is and what you need to work on. They're telling Donnie Sadler that he can't handle that ball in. And thus far, they're right.
1-2.
It becomes kind of a guessing game when you want to change in that plan. With the count 3-2, they changed the approach to Sanchez, thinking he might cheat on the fastball. They threw the changeup. He did not. He stayed within himself, and he lined a single to drive in the first run for the Royals. If they think Sadler's going to cheat, now you throw something off speed down.
That one up in the zone and hit hard, but sprayed foul, and still 1-2.
To hit that fastball in, you've got to get the head of the bat out in front of home plate. This is the fastball away. You can hit that ball back in the zone. You can let it get to you a little bit more than the one in. Sadler coming close to putting that ball in play because it was on the outer half.
Mulder with another 1-2. Just low. Sadler in situations like this, 0 for the season, 0 for 23 runners in scoring position. Driven in total of 3 runs in his 2 stops this year. He can drive in 2 with 1 swing here. 3-2.
What are all of these changeups? I mean, it's a decent changeup, but you got ahead with 2 heaters in on his hand. Now, by trying to be cute and picking on the outer half with something off speed, trying to trick somebody, you've put Sadler right back into this at bat and given the Royals an opportunity to take this a big lead in this game.
And he walked him, and they're loaded.
That's hard to understand. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball is difficult to handle, particularly when it's located. Let's check it out. Fastball in. All right. Hard in. Late. Hard in even later. All right, we'll try the outside corner. Well, he almost caught up with it. That tells you he's right on the changeup. He spits on that one. He takes that one. He takes that one. I mean, that's just not letting the hitter's previous swing dictate what the next pitch should be. Far too many changeups tonight from a power pitcher.
So Rick Peterson, the pitching coach, out for a talk. Art Howe on the phone at the moment.
I really thought they did Mulder a favor there with the sacrifice bunt. Sadler's 0 for 23 with runners in scoring position. You got an opportunity to get out of that thing. Then you got a base open with Sanchez and Beltran to mess with. But Mulder hoping Sadler would help him out rather than making something happen himself.
Eric Hilius will get loose. And since they couldn't retire Sadler, they now get Sanchez, who was 2 for 2 tonight with an RBI.
He leads the Royals by grounding into 11 double plays. So if you can make a pitch, you can get out of it.
Right hand fastball in and missed. Sanchez 295 for the year since they moved him to the number 2 hole. A .312 hitter. Hard shot, base hit. Renda is home. Ortiz back to third, and now they've got Sadler in a rundown between second and third. Here comes Ortiz to the plate, and he is a dead duck. You had Ortiz with no speed, changing his mind around third. You had Sadler with all the speed in the world bearing down on him. And as a result, you get only 1 run out of the single by Sanchez, who is 3 for 3 on the night.
Some horrible base running on the part of the Royals. Take a look. The first run's going to score. Now the third base coach says, go on, and all of a sudden Rich Dower says, stop. Well, right before the guy going to second base, when he looked up and saw Dower saying go, he put his head down because he knew he was supposed to go as well. And then some great heads-up play on the part of Frank Menachino to get the runner at home plate.
Now Carlos Beltran, who is 1 for 2.
That was not Donnie Sadler's fault there. The third base coach, Rich Dower, originally told the lead runner, Hector Ortiz, to go. Well, that's what he saw as he started to get to second base. He continued to go there.
1-0 pitch is popped up right behind second, and Menachino will make the call. So the Royals get 1, should have been more. And through 5, they lead it 3-1.
We've got TP on the wingtips.
Only Nextel digital cellular phones have Direct Connect.
Static cling coming at you 12 o'clock.
A digital two-way radio feature for instant contact.
Code red, there's snow on the mountains.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck, sir. So you can solve problems with the push of a button.
Gentlemen, glad to meet you.
At least the ones you're aware of. Nextel Direct Connect, the digital two-way radio feature that lets you get right through. Nextel, the official wireless telecommunication sponsor of Major League Baseball.
ESPN2's Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, this Bud's for you. And by Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond, weeknights at 8, only on ESPN Classic.
3-1 here in the top of the 6th inning. It could have been a lot more for Kansas City if not for a base running here. Watch third base coach here. Watch Rich Dower say, you're going to go. All right, all of a sudden he changes his mind. Well, right in here is where Donnie Sadler has to pick him up. Look at him saying going. Now Sadler has to round the base and come on to third. Well, look what happens. Dower changes his mind, and it looks like Sadler makes a mistake. That's not the case. Watch Menachino finish him off at home plate. Heads up baseball by Oakland. The third base runner tonight for Kansas City that has been thrown out on the bases.
Greg Myers flies out to Sadler in center on the first pitch of the 6th. You had a complete mismatch in speed with Sadler, who can run with anybody, and Ortiz, who can be outrun by just about anybody. Just a bad combination bunched together on the base paths.
That might have ended the night for Mark Mulder as well. We saw activity in the Oakland bullpen. Had 1 run scored there. You've only got 1 out, bases loaded. It could have been a big inning. Instead, Oakland's back in the game. Mulder's still in the game.
Damon dumps a broken bat base hit into right field. His first hit in his 3rd trip of the night.
I get a kick out of that. Johnny Damon knows well that Jermaine Dye has a great arm and won a Gold Glove last year. He thought about going to second, and probably on a lot of right fielders he would have, but not on his old buddy. He gets jammed, a broken bat. That's kind of the way Damon hits. He's a slasher. He just tries to hit the ball on the line or on the ground. And he's been doing that a lot as of late. And when he's leading off and he's hot, he can really fire up a ball club from that position.
Yep, the Oakland surge coinciding with Johnny Damon finally finding his game at the top of the order. Baseball's biggest disappointment in the first half in a lot of minds. At 2:39 at the break, 3:11 since then. It's starting finally to look like last year's version.
Yeah, he let that big salary. He makes over $7 million this year, and he knows he's on a low budget baseball club, and he let that affect him. He tried to do too much.
Menachino 0 for 2. And behind 0-2. Kansas City has scored more runs against Mulder than he had allowed in his 3 previous starts.
I don't think we've seen 3 curveballs tonight, have we?
Don't think so.
We've seen
fastball change.
Way too many changeups.
Last 3 starts, 2 were shutouts. One was a 3-2 win over Colorado. You go back 3 weeks ago tonight, the last time he gave up 3 runs. He lost 3-1 at Texas. And the 6th, he trails this one 3-1. And Johnny Damon, a terrific stolen base threat with 46 tops in the American League last year. This year, only 15 out of 23.
He was supposed to add that dimension to this ball club. The only dimension their offense was missing, which was speed, but only the Boston Red Sox with fewer stolen bases this year than Oakland.
Our house team relying on other aspects of their offense besides speed. Still 2-2 to Menachino.
I love watching baseball players like Menachino. How they get the absolute most out of their ability. They're always diving. If he hits the ball on the ground, watch how hard he runs. Battling in this at bat, taking pitches. He knows his job is to get on base. He took that first pitch strike. He fell behind 0-2, but he's continued to battle. He's not given this at bat away, and he's worked the pitch count trying to get that starter out of the ball game.
Suppan works to him at 2-2. Double play balls. Suppan, Sanchez, and Sweeney make it a 1-2-3-6. Royals will hit with a 3-1 lead. Sweeney, Dye, and Quinn.
Bill Pito back in the studio as we update the Dodgers and the Rockies. Alex Ochoa recently acquired from the Reds. Base hit. In comes Todd Helton. Helton also has an RBI in this inning. 8-6. Rockies within 2. Bottom 4. That's all.
14 runs, 4 innings. About the usual amount of business at Coors Field.
I'm so glad programming didn't pick that game for us.
We, on the other hand, have a pitcher's duel. 3-1. We move to the bottom of the 6th inning, and Mark Mulder, who has been touched for 9 hits on 3 runs, including a home run by Mike Sweeney on today, his 28th birthday. That was in the 4th inning, and it gave Kansas City a 2-1 lead. They since have added to it. An inning that could have been a lot bigger in the 5th.
That's perfect pitching there. Sweeney was late on that first pitch fastball in. Now you just climb the ladder. You add a little bit more to it. You elevate it. As he starts to cheat on that fastball and get out in front of home plate with the swing, that tells you the next pitch can be something off speed, something down. Sequence real good up to this point in this at bat. Give him a little look at something away maybe, or climb the ladder one more time up. A little away piece, a little show piece. That's all.
Coming into tonight, Kansas City was the worst team in baseball when they faced a left-handed starter. 6-23. Hitting only .244 against lefties. The worst in the American League. And, you know, they're not pounding Mulder into submission, but 3 runs, 9 hits, enough to get Jeff Tam up. The second time that an Oakland reliever has had to get loose.
Well, Mike Sweeney's an honest enough man to tell you he's part of that reason. Just hitting .242 this year against left-handed pitching. You would think that average would be a lot higher.
And another base hit through the hole on the left side. Sweeney is 2 for 3.
With a lot of right-handed hitters in the lineup tonight against the left-handed starting pitcher, I don't know how much longer Art Howe is going to stick with him. He wanted to elevate the fastball. He wanted it up and in. It was not in enough. It leaked back over the heart of the plate. Sweeney able to get enough of the big part of the bat on it to get it past the hot at shortstop.
Last 12 Kansas City hitters, 8 have base hits. 2 by Sweeney. Now breaking ball. Fouled off by Jermaine Dye. We haven't said breaking ball too often tonight.
What that breaking ball does is when you get a hitter to lay off that high fastball, you start that breaking ball in that same release point. He quits on it as he does the fastball, and it drops in for that little free get over strike. 80% effort pitch, just a little something to get ahead in the count.
Another one and another base hit. Dye's second straight single. First and second, nobody out in the 6th.
This is the first time I've seen Mark Mulder pitch in a regular season game. I've seen him pitch a couple of times in spring training. His stuff is tremendous. He is not overhyped or overrated, but his pitch sequence tonight has not been very good. Jermaine Dye out in front of that first curveball, as a good hitter will. He made an adjustment. Mulder come back with a hanger. Kansas City with runners on base again.
Myers out for a talk as Tam already up in the bullpen.
It shouldn't take long to get loose.
No, well, I almost said to get warm. Now they're already warm. As soon as they stepped out of the team bus, they were warm. Now they're getting loose. As Mulder has surprisingly not been untouchable the way he's been throughout most of the month of July.
Yeah, and I think Art Howe realizes it's just one of those nights where things didn't work out for the kid. His sequence was a little different. He'll make some adjustments and be much better the next time out.
That's 3 starts, won all 3 with an ERA of 0.72. He will leave this game after 5+ innings. 3 runs, 11 hits. Both runners are his. And the Royals on top, 3-1.
You could be having a lot more fun this summer. Just drop whatever you're doing and get to your Pontiac dealer for the 2001 Pontiac Summer Clearance, where you can save a bundle. Get 0% APR financing on the driving excitement of any 2001 Pontiac in stock, or up to $2,000 cash back on select models. See dealer for restrictions. With a deal this good on driving excitement, you may want to get more than one. 0% APR financing. That's what you're going to get. This is where you gotta go.
Used to be there was only one big guy out there delivering pizzas. Then an upstart came along. And with each passing year, you saw more and more Papa John's cars. Perhaps that's because Papa John's uses only quality ingredients. It's made us the fastest growing pizza chain in America. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Get an extra large 1-topping Big Papa and 2 liters of Coke for only $10.99. That's just $10.99.
Know how to spot a die-hard battery owner? Look for their jumper cables. Die-hard. 30 years of starting power. How much do you trust your battery?
They said they'd be friends forever. Now, after a year at college...
Where's my big guy?
Oh, no.
Hey!
Get out, Dad! They're about to learn.
Who wants me to kiss Amber?
Oh, yeah!
You guys first.
What? Oh! Some bonds are forever.
Ow! Yeah, I kind of super glued myself to myself.
American Pie 2. This film is not yet rated. At theaters August 10th.
Is that the Tree Topper 2000? It's a great chainsaw.
Love the outdoors? Get your ticket to the great outdoors from ESPN and Jeep Liberty. Win a Jeep Liberty loaded with gear, or fishing in Alaska, riding in Colorado, or a trip to the great outdoor games. Just enter at ESPN.com, then watch the games to see if you've won.
In Mark Mulder's 21st start, it's his second shortest of the year. Only 5 innings, and he gives way to Jeff Tam's 45th outing of the year.
Managers love relief pitchers like Jeff Tam. They're durable. Last year, 72 appearances. He's on his way to another outstanding year, a good ERA, fewer hits than innings. And the reason managers like guys like this so much is because when you've got a good heavy sinker, as Tam does, you can come in, throw one pitch, get a ground ball at somebody, and get 2 outs. Mulder's hoping for that, as is Art House.
3 runs plus responsible for Sweeney and Dye on base. The only shorter outing was June 5th at Anaheim. He went 4 and allowed 7 runs in a 7-3 loss to the Angels. Art Howe did not count on having to go this early to his pen, but he calls on a hot reliever, Jeff Tam, who has not allowed a run in 8 of his 9 outings in the month of July. 11 in the 3rd innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, and an ERA of 1.59 this month. He's stranded all 4 of his inherited runners. First hitters this month, 1 for 9, 3 strikeouts, so he will call on that type of immediate effectiveness as Mark Quinn, who is 0 for 2, stands in.
Quinn loves that first pitch fastball. 2 for 5 in his short career against Jeff Tam.
Just as he ordered it up, Tejada, Menachino, Giambi, double play. Moving on to 3rd is Sweeney.
Well, just as Art Howe knows that Tam's got a good heavy sinker, you know, as a hitter, you got to know that as well. If you hit into a ground ball double play with 2 strikes, as Frank Menachino did in the top of the 6th, you understand it. But when it's the first pitch of the at-bat, you want to get something up in the zone that you can elevate to stay out of that double play. Over aggressiveness on the part of Mark Quinn possibly could get Oakland out of this inning again. Kansas City threatening to blow this game apart, not able to do it.
Second straight double play. Quinn grounds into. Now Joe Randa drives a base hit into center field just in front of Damon. Sweeney is home, and it's 4-1. Second straight single by Randa.
Well, it's not a great year in terms of what Joe Randa has done in the past by hitting over 300 a bunch of those times, hitting just right at 250 now, but he's got 54 RBIs. That's nothing to sneeze at this point in the year.
Another Royal who had struggled this month. 164, no homers, 5 RBIs, a big one there. He gives Kansas City a 3-run lead. Strike 1 to Hector Ortiz, who was 2 for 2. So Mulder charged with all 4 Kansas City runs. 11 hits, only 1 strikeout, and walked only 1.
That insurance to be big in the top of the 7th when Oakland hits. Jeremy Giambi to lead off. Jason following him with just a 2-run lead. You don't get Jeremy out, you could find yourself tied. Now you can get past Jason knowing you're still going to have the lead.
Suppan has shut down the A's on only 3 hits through 6 innings. And the Oakland starters have been avoiding outings like this. As a group, they've given up 3 runs or less 32 of the last 40 games. That includes tonight.
Hi, Jeff.
Almost every night out, you're getting a so-called quality start. 6 innings or more, 3 earned runs or less. Have an Oakland starter tonight. One of the few exceptions. Chopper on the right side is through for Ortiz, who is 3 for 3. A .236 hitter when the night began.
Mulder looking up at that scoreboard, knowing that he gave up 4 runs, and he also knows that his offense has only scored 1 run for him tonight when they combined for 24 runs the first 2 games of this series. Real good approach to hitting there once again by Hector Ortiz, his 3rd hit. He knows that there's an advantage with the first baseman holding the runner on. You don't get many advantages in a big league game of baseball. Nice job looking for that, doing something with it.
And now working to Ordaz, who will hit the easy ground ball to Menechito to end the inning. But Kansas City adds another one. They have scored single runs in the last 4 consecutive and lead it 4-1.
Gentlemen, the Axiom has a 230 horsepower V6. Our commercial opens in New York City.
I love this town.
Then we go to Sweden to show off our dual mode suspension. For beauty shots, Maui at sunset. So, what do you think?
You wish. Maui. Wendy's makes late nights great nights, serving up your favorites.
Hello? Get a Wendy's Classic half-pound double with cheese, even late, because our pickup window's open late.
A big Wendy's thank you goes out to the man in the red minivan.
All news is not the same. How do you tell the truth from the fiction? Where does the noise end and the news begin? ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, because you can't control the news, just the noise.
Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City on what was a 100-degree day. Dave Barnett, Rick Sutcliffe on to the 7th inning, and Kansas City trying to take advantage of a rare, well-pitched game with timely hitting. A 4-1 lead. They've chased Mark Mulder, arguably the hottest starter in the American League in the month of July. And Jeff Suppan will work to the Giambi brothers and Terrence Long in the 7th.
As a staff, they were pitching real well after the All-Star break until the Oakland A's got to town. Collectively an ERA under 3. But that was destroyed with 14 runs the first night, 10 runs last night. You know, Kansas City, it's all about pitching. Oakland figured that out, and with the development of Mulder and Zito and Hudson, they were able to take that next step to be a contender. For Kansas City to do that, it's going to have to be guys like Jeff Suppan stepping up as he is tonight. Dan Reichert, just 25 years of age with 8 wins. Chad Durbin, 23 with 6 wins. Chris Wilson, another starter, 24 years of age, a 4-1 record. There's Chad Durbin. Also down in AAA, a guy that I got to see at the Futures game this year before the All-Star game, Chris George. Friday night won his 11th victory of the year, 11-3 on the year. You wonder how far away he is.
Should be some help on the way. Called strike 3, and Jeremy down on strikes for the 2nd time in a row. Suppan's 5th strikeout.
He had pounded the inner half of the plate the first time through the lineup to everybody. Now he's going away with the fastball. There he goes away with the changeup. And you can see Jeremy kind of giving on the inner half of the plate because Suppan established that in the very first at bat.
Jason aboard both times. His 2nd triple of the year, just the 7th of his career in the 2nd. And then worked a 2-out walk in the 4th. Talking about the young Kansas City pitchers, Chad Durbin, 8 shutout innings twice in a 6-day span, but 2 no decisions to show for him. Chris Wilson Thursday night gave Freddie Garcia just his 2nd loss of the year. At that point, the 8th straight solid start by a Kansas City pitcher since the All-Star break. Users said the best streak he'd seen since he became manager. But all that destroyed by the Oakland bats the first 2 games of this series.
And Jason Giambi has destroyed Kansas City pitching throughout his career, an average of .375. So really a good job by the Royal starter tonight in this at bat. You've got to lead. There'll come a time later on during this ball game or the season or next year when you have to get Giambi out. Well, don't show him what you're going to do in that sequence. He's just staying hard and away to begin with. Coming back in with a little cutter there. We talked about the swing of Jason and how his father fixed it. One thing he did, not only with his stance, but also with his hands. His dad said your stance to begin with is too wide and your hands were too low. Well, they got both of those things fixed, and Jason off and running. No doubt going to receive a lot of MVP votes this year.
2-2. Jason started play tonight, 3rd in the American League in average, 9th in homers and runs batted in, 1st in walks, 1st in on-base percentage. He's been on each of his first 2 trips, but not this time as he bounces out to Ordaz. And let's update our game track. 3 hitters so far for Jeff Suppan, who was just 4-8 coming in, an ERA over 4.50. Sanchez has a pair of RBIs, accounting for half of the Kansas City runs, with a big solo home run by Sweeney on his 28th birthday. That gave Kansas City the lead that so far they have not relinquished. Long drives one deep in the corner and off the base of the wall. Extra bases as Dye with his big right arm gets it in a hurry, but not quite quick enough to prevent a double by Terrence Long.
Those 2-out doubles don't always hurt you. The whole key to the night for Jeff Suppan has been to get the leadoff hitter of each inning out. He's done that in every inning now except the second. And Jason Giambi hit a triple and eventually scored. 2-out double. All right, I'll give you credit.
That's about as close as anybody could make that play. Just as close to an automatic double as you can get, except for the fact you got Gold Glover Jermaine Dye out there to make it close.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to play this outfield defensively than most because of the park being symmetrical. It's equal to both hitters, right-handed, left-handed. 375 in the power alleys, 400 straight away, 330 down the line.
They literally don't make them like this anymore. I don't think anybody's lamenting that. The modern looks constructed in the 70s, although unlike every other park from that era, this from day one a baseball only facility, and that's why it's lasted so well through nearly 3 decades. Tejada slow roller fielded by Randa, who throws on the run and gets it. A 4-hitter in progress for Suppan and a 4-1 Kansas City lead.
Brought to you by Singular Wireless. ESPN2 Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Nextel, how business gets done.
On a very warm, muggy night in Kansas City, the Royals into the bottom of the 7th with a 4-1 lead. 4-hitter by Jeff Suppan, new 3rd baseman for Oakland. Olmedo Signs replacing Eric Chavez, who has been playing with that sprained left thumb for a little over a week. Top of the Kansas City order, Donnie Sadler, Ray Sanchez, Carlos Beltran. Jeff Tam came on last inning. Got all 3 outs after back-to-back singles by Sweeney and Dye to begin the 6th. They got 4 hits that inning, only 1 run scored because of a 6-4-3 Mark Quinn double play ball. And Sadler pops this one up to Jason Giambi. He's 0 for 3.
Everybody, every team needs a Joe Randa type player. You need a base hit, he's the guy to get it. Earlier in the game, he scored a run. Later on in the game, he drove in a run. And how about some defense? He's got that too. Look at the timing. He knows how much time he's got. He just gets the throw to the bag on time to end the inning defensively for the Oakland Athletics in the top of the 7th.
They have not retired Sanchez tonight. 3 for 3 until this line drive is caught by Long. 3 singles, 2 RBIs.
The designated
Maybe as hard as he's hit one all night, but it's his only out.
Joe Randa really reminds me a lot of Jeff Cirillo there in Colorado. Quiet, all-star type guy, steady, not flashy.
You know what you're getting every day.
Exactly. You're going to get a clutch hitter. Randa, a 309 career average with runners in scoring position. Over 300 4 times in the last 5 years. And you know what else is equally impressive? He plays every day.
Carlos Beltran drives the first pitch toward the gap. That center field. Coming on is McMillan. It's a quick 7th inning for Kansas City. A 4-pitch inning for Tam to keep it 4-1.
Put the food down, walk away, nobody gets hurt. Let's get him! I got him!
Think you're tough enough to drive a Tacoma? Join the club. Introducing the double cab with over 5 feet of bed length.
You just can't mess with a man's salad.
Word up. I'm real excited this week, Joe. Sunday we've got the Cardinals and Cubs at Wrigley Field.
And there's no finer place to have sluggers like McGuire and Sosa.
Big Mac and Slammin' Sandy, here we go again.
Cardinals Cubs Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. 8 o'clock next Sunday only on ESPN.
Kansas City 4-1 as we move into the 8th inning this Wednesday. ESPN, the place to be at 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. As the Dodgers, one of the best stories in the National League, battle the Milwaukee Brewers. And at 7, the White Sox will face the Indians. Big one in the American Central. Also 7 here on ESPN2. Blue Jays travel to Boston to take on Manny Ramirez and the Red Sox. Some of you will see the Tigers at the New York Yankees. In the 8th inning for Oakland, Almedo signed to replace Eric Chavez defensively in the last half inning. Then Billy McMillan and Greg Myers.
You got to figure something's wrong with Eric Chavez. The toughness that we know that kid has. Carlos Beltran hitting a rocket off his thumb to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning, and then later on he slid into his ankle with Chavez making the tag for the out. You don't know if it's one or the other or both that got him out of the game tonight.
Before this series, he had not started the previous 5 games.
Activity in the Royals bullpen. A left-hander and a right-hander up and throwing. The longest outing of the year for Jeff Suppan was earlier this year when he went 7 1/3 against these Oakland A's.
1-2. It's just low to Signs. Left-hander is their only lefty in the bullpen, Tony Kogan. Veteran Jason Brimsley, the righty. This right now would be Suppan's best start of the year. May 11th at Minnesota, 7 innings, a 7-hitter. Allowed only 1 run. He got a no decision in that one. They lost it in 11 innings. But a lead to protect, and has yet to throw his 100th pitch. From start to finish, about as good as he's been, especially as good a team as he's facing. Right back to Suppan. He retires Signs.
Well, it looks like that 7 1/3 being the longest outing of the year is going to be changed. Not only making great pitches, helping himself defensively, hit right back up the middle, but in good fielding position to get the glove on the ball. Got a little tangled with the feet. No problem. Plenty of time. Again, getting the leadoff hitter of the inning out.
And Tony Muser's job comparatively easy tonight. Billy McMillan 0 for 2, and first pitch hitting goes into the left center field gap where Sadler easily runs it down for out number 2. And the A's are down to their last 4 outs.
The reason Tony Kogan, the left-hander, was up and throwing in the pen. Greg Myers, a left-handed hitting catcher, the only catcher available tonight for Art Howe. Ramon Hernandez, their normal starter. Some sore collarbone problems, a collision with Denny Hocking of Minnesota. The option for Tony Muser was there to go to the left-hander in the bullpen, but he might not be needed at all tonight.
The deeper this game has gone, the better Suppan has looked as he's quickly up 0-2 on Myers.
Well, he opened up the outer half of the plate the first time through the lineup, not only throwing strikes inside, but moving people off the plate. He's mad at himself there. He felt like he had Myers set up, looking at that third strike, fastball on the inside corner, but physically he didn't get it there. That's the responsibility of Alan Nipper with this young staff, to teach them that one dimension.
1-2 pitch. Myers just stays alive. The book on Suppan had been that he tended to tire in late innings, but he's retired 6 of the last 7, long the 2-out double in the 7th.
10 wins last year, Suppan for Kansas City. 8-3 the second half of the year.
That one not missing by much. Tony Randazzo says it was low.
You know, those conversations that umpires and catchers have during the course of the night, a lot of those calls get made on fielders, but not always on catchers.
Same spot, left center field, hit a little bit better, and it is gone. It carries all the way over the 375 mark, and Greg Myers, for the second night in a row, has homered. His first 2 homers as an Oakland A, and it's 4-2.
This is Billy Beane, the general manager of the Oakland A's, at his best. The ability to judge talent, guys that would fit in, missing pieces of the puzzle for the Oakland A's. He filled a lot of those holes last year with people. It looks like he's filled another one. He needs some offense from the catching position. He needs a guy that can swing the bat from the left side. He's got it. Greg Myers.
So 4-2, and Johnny Damon fouling the first pitch off. 6th home run all told on the year for Myers. 4 before he was waived by Baltimore a little over a month ago.
You earn your money as a manager in spots like this. Do I go get him? Do I not get him?
Again, he's a pitch away. I know he felt he had nailed down strike 3 on Myers the previous pitch. Well, that had to make the home run doubly hard to take for Suppan.
On the replay, it looked like he did, but our opinion does not count.
Right at the hollow of the knee, as specified in the rule book. 1-2 now to Damon.
It's just so impressive the way he continues to move hitters off the plate. Defensively set up to try to get a fly ball from Johnny Damon to the opposite field.
And quickly, too. Damon, soft one hopper. Ordaz doesn't get it in time to Sweeney. And you really got to look at the speed of Johnny Damon. Ball hit on the right side, a one-hopper, and he beats it out for his 2nd straight hit.
Well, Luis Ordaz has to know that as well, the speed of Johnny Damon, and he let this baseball play him. The inning could be over. Jeff Suppan could be headed to the 9th inning. Look how quick he gets down the line, but you know he's going to hustle. You have to know that as an infielder. Look how deep he was on that ground ball. That ball bounced twice. He should have caught that ball in on the dirt rather than on the grass. It would have shortened the throw. It would have been a quicker play, and it could have been a complete game for the Royal starter.
2 different pitches Suppan should rightfully have gotten out of the inning. And that'll be it. No complete game tonight, as they will go to the right-hander Jason Grimsley to face Frank Menachino. A's down to their last strike here in the 8th, but manage a homer and a single and chase Suppan.
ESPN's 2-minute drill CD-ROM. Available wherever software is sold.
Before I forget, tomorrow we have to work on that beach. I might even want to build a tent.
Green, stop. Traffic, you. CD, play. Climate control, on.
The Infinity Q45 with voice-activated controls.
Lights, green.
The rest of the world should be so accommodating. The new Q from Infinity.
People do some strange things to cars. That's why there's Carfax. We'll give you the real history of any used car, and that could save you thousands. Go to Carfax.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
4-2 now with 2 outs in the 8th inning, and a new pitcher, Jason Grimsley, on to face Frank Menechino.
Fans will remember Jason Grimsley the last 2 years pitching for the world champion New York Yankees. 10-4 record combined. Middle relief man, setup type man. Even though there's an 0-4 record, some outstanding numbers for Kansas City's right-hander.
Grimsley had forearm and elbow problems all last year, had bone chips removed from his elbow in November. Still released. Kansas City picked him up in January, and Suppan, for all rightful purposes, should probably have had a 1-2-3 inning, but he didn't get the call. Strike 3 on Myers, who eventually homered, and then the Damon infield hit on a ball that Ordaz was a hair low, delivering to Sweeney at first. So Grimsley on after 109 pitches thrown by Suppan. Menechino 0 for 1 lifetime against Grimsley. 33-year-old right-hander out of Cleveland, Texas. Damon, with a great jump, easily steals second base. His 16th steal on the year.
It's all about addition and subtraction in baseball today. That first pitch, they had the time. First base coach Mike Quaid knew how long it took Jason Grimsley to get the ball to home plate. He knows the arm strength and the time it takes Ortiz to get the ball to second. He also knows the speed of Johnny Damon on a good jump on a stolen base attempt. Plenty of time for Damon to beat that good throw.
1-1 to Menechino. Tying run at the plate with 2 outs in the 8th. Now 1-2. Grimsley now with his 8th organization, his 10th stop. He was with a couple twice, including briefly Kansas City property in 1997. Terrific outing by Suppan. Well as he has pitched all year. And Menechino down on strike, so Grimsley finishes what Suppan could not quite in the 8th inning. Greg Myers' home run, the big blow to keep Oakland hopes alive. Bottom of the 8th now with Kansas City trying to add some insurance runs. It'll be Sweeney, Dye, and Quinn. New pitcher Mark Guthrie on. Don't forget, join ESPN Tuesday night at 8 Eastern, a 3-hour Baseball Tonight special. You can get updated on every game on the schedule Tuesday, including David Cohn's bid for his 6th win, Wade Miller for Houston going for his 12th, Randy Johnson, Freddie Garcia going for their 13th wins, and you will be a part of that. And that's going to be
3 hours.
3 hours of pure heaven.
I have no idea. You know, it's something new. I mean, baseball is so popular right now, and it's a great time of the year for it. So many divisional races, wild card races going on. So many great stories. Minnesota, Philadelphia, the Cubs.
Trade possibilities out there.
Peter Gammons' phone will be on fire.
Does he live for July 31st or what?
You know, I don't know. I think he knows what's going to happen before that. It always seems like it.
Mark Guthrie on for his 35th appearance. Not terribly effective of late. 6 runs allowed in his last 7 games. Over those 8 innings, a .675 earned run average. 1-1 to Sweeney, who has homered, singled, and scored twice, ending an 8 for 48 slump. Home run was his first extra base hit in 20 days. On his 28th birthday today, 1-2.
Art Howe deciding to go with the veteran Mark Guthrie. Even though there's right-handed hitters coming up, bringing in the left-handed pitcher. He had some right-handed options in his bullpen. That's a pretty good right-handed option there, Jeff Suppan, for Kansas City for the next several years.
It was tonight. 2-2. Guthrie making his 7th stop. 3 of them last year. Cubs, Tampa Bay, Toronto. Started with Minnesota in '89 after an all-SEC career at LSU. 4 years with the Dodgers, Boston. Mooney's pop-up will be just foul and run down by Jason Giambi. I'll say word for Jeff Tam as well. He did fine relief work for Mulder. Trying to keep Oakland alive in the 9th will be the Giambis. Jeremy, then Jason, and Terrence Long.
Don't go anywhere because Jeremy Giambi, with a 10-game hitting streak, needs one tonight to continue that. And to get that one, that's a guy he's going to have to try to do it off of.
Fireballing Roberto Hernandez. 2 for 3 night for Dye. Singles each of his last 2 trips. Jeff Tam came in with 2 on, nobody out in the 6th. Immediately got a 6-4-3 double play by Quinn, and then gave up 2 hits, but from that point on retired the next 4. Not charged with any of the Kansas City runs. Mulder, 5 innings, charged with all 4 on 11 hits, a strikeout, and a walk. After he had basically been untouchable in the month of July.
It really wasn't a good night for Mark Mulder. One that, you know, with a lot more offense, the decision might have been different, but let's not forget he came into tonight's ball game just 2 wins behind Roger Clemens, 1 win behind Aaron Seeley of the Seattle Mariners as far as league leaders in the American League are concerned.
So he raised all our expectations.
And he's 23 years old.
How do certain franchises always seem to be able to gather good young arms? Houston, again, doing it in the National League. Oakland's got them all lined up, all early mid-20s in the American League.
Well, there's 2 things that happen. One, you got to have good scouts. You got to draft good people. But equally important is that
tried to right for Long. Out number 2.
Equally important is that you have to have coaches in your organization that can develop that talent. It's just like a big-time university. You know, when they get the top students coming to them, what's waiting on them? The top instructors.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. And for the most extensive coverage of Major League Baseball, log on to MLB.com. Major League Baseball, connect with it. Mark Quinn, 3 ground balls, 2 turned into double plays. Swings at that one way up in the zone, 1-1.
Quinn in 200 career games, an average of 294, 37 homers, 128 RBIs. 3rd last year in the Rookie of the Year award in the American League. Sasaki in Seattle winning it. Terrace Long, right fielder tonight for Oakland, was 2nd.
Quinn had hit big in his minor league stops. Led the Texas League at 98, 349 with Wichita. Next year led the Pacific Coast League, 360. So, in fact, he hit 294, 20 homers. As a rookie, not that surprising. So a respectable 287 average coming into this one.
He was a guy that was 5'9", 135 pounds out of high school, graduated down in Texas. Nobody really wanted him. went on to Rice University, got bigger, got stronger. There are a lot of people that have wanted him since.
A lot of people that have wanted talent that Rice University has been turning out lately. Jose Cruz Jr., Lance Berkman. Wing checks his swing. And the appeal down at first. Chris Guccione rings him up, and so Myers will make the toss down to Giambi, and it's a 1-2-3, 8th inning for Guthrie. Last opportunity for the A's. Jeremy and Jason Giambi, followed by Terrence Long. Well, big bats will face Roberto Hernandez, the Kansas City closer, here in the 9th inning. Kansas City trying to close out a 4-2 win. Don't forget this Wednesday. Lots of action beginning at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. ESPN has the Dodgers and the Brewers, White Sox and the Indians at 7. Also 7 o'clock on ESPN2. The Blue Jays travel to Boston and take on the Red Sox. Some of you will see the Tigers and the Yankees. Following the 3-hour edition of Baseball Tonight, Tuesday at 8 Eastern.
You want a closer? If the price is right, you can have one. Roberto Hernandez, another one of those guys rumored to be going to a contending team. 36-year-old right-hander, owns more saves than any other pitcher born outside the United States. 17 on the year. That puts him in the top 10 in the American League in that department. You know what you're going to get. He's going to come in. He's going to throw strikes. If you're better than me, then you might beat me. But I'm not going to beat myself.
He has not got a whole lot of experience against 3 batters he'll face here. First, Jeremy Giambi, 0 for 2 against him. Jason, 2 for 7. And Long only faced Hernandez once and is 0 for 1. Jeremy 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts for the man who had been the hottest hitter in baseball this month of July. A 4.03 average this month, best in the American League, a career high 10-game hitting streak in jeopardy.
He'd end that hitting streak to get on base with a walk or anything. You wouldn't expect this out of Roberto here. You don't start worrying about walking a guy with the count 2-0 or 3-0. When you know the MVP from last year is on the on-deck circle as the tie and run, you make that first pitch a strike if you possibly can.
First 2 were up in the zone. This one high but in the zone. 2-1. Jason on deck, who has a triple, a walk and a ground out. 2-2. Hernandez acquired in the big 9-player 3-team deal from Tampa Bay, but it went through Oakland. He was traded first for Ben Grieve and then turned around and was traded for Johnny Damon.
Finally a closer for manager Tony Musil that he can rely on. Probably the best Kansas City closer since Jeff Montgomery.
Almost hit him. Full count.
Outstanding second half last year for Roberto Hernandez. 20 saves and ERA under 2. Fastball in the low 90s and a tremendous split finger.
2-pitch in the dirt. Just what he did not want. A leadoff walk to Jeremy Giambi, and he'll face Jason Giambi as the tying run with nobody out of the ninth.
They start chewing that gum a little faster, don't they, when things happen that you don't expect.
American League's MVP, triple for just the 7th time in his career, scored on Miguel Tejada's RBI single in the 2nd, and that was all the Oakland offense until a 2-out 8th inning home run by Greg Myers. He again starts with a ball. Everything at that 96, 97 mile an hour range, but only 2 strikes in his first 7 pitches. That one hit well to the gap, in there in right center. Jeremy Giambi headed to third. Ron Washington waving him home. The throw up the line a little bit, and it gets away, and Jason will take third. An RBI double Jeremy scores to make it 4-3, and the tying run reaches third with no one out in the ninth inning.
All of this credit starts off going to Jason Giambi, but after that it's in the hands of the effort by Jeremy Giambi and Ron Washington not being afraid to take a chance. Jeremy's off and running. They've got to play at home plate, but Washington decides I got to take the chance. If I can get him home, I want him home now. Washington knows it's going to be close. It's a bad throw. It's a great play on the part of the third base coach by the Oakland A's.
Throwing error by Ordaz. Congratulations for Jason after the RBI double, his 69th RBI, and now swinging to the first pitch, fouling it off, Terrence Long, who doubled his last time up. Where Hernandez immediately creates trouble for himself by walking Jeremy Giambi, falling behind Jason. Now a swing of the bat away from a tie game. Long has 9 home runs this year.
Well, right when a base running mistake by Kansas City hurt him.
That one is fair on the chalk and headed to the corner. It's a tie game. Jason Giambi home to make it 4-4 on the second straight double by Terrence Long. And the terrific work by Jeff Suppan and Jason Grimsley erased in 3 batters.
Here they come. Kansas City left the door open. They could have closed it. So could Roberto Hernandez have closed it, but the base on ball to Jeremy Giambi led to all of the activity. A double by Jason, and now a double by the guy that's supposed to provide some protection for him, Terrence Long, right on the chalk.
So now the go-ahead run in scoring position for Tejada, who has an RBI. First time up, drove home Jason Giambi.
MVPs take a big step when they're needed. Jason Giambi was needed. Man on first. He hits a ground ball double play. They've got no chance. What does he do? He drives in a run. He scores a run. He steps up.
They always seem to have their best swing when they need it the most, that particular game.
We had a lot of them last year during the month of September. Look at Giambi's reaction. He knows who created this. Look at that. He says, thank you, Ronnie Washington, for picking up that RBI for me. Washington says, thank you, big man, for tying this ball game up for us.
Boy, right under the chin.
Good old-fashioned hard ball here. Roberto Hernandez knows what Miguel Tejada is trying to do. He wants to hit the ball to the right side, something on the outer half of the plate to advance Terrence Long to third base or further with less than 2 outs. See him diving on that outside corner? All of you youngsters, do not turn into the baseball. That's what that ear flap is for on the left side of a right-handed hitting helmet. Turn away from it so that that ear flap can help you, particularly when the guy is on the mound throwing 97 as Roberto is tonight.
Isringhausen, Messier getting loose for Oakland.
If it's you say, why would you get 2 right-handers up? Well, if it's tied, Messier comes in. You save your closer. If you take the lead and there's a save opportunity, then you'll see Isringhausen.
Loose Tejada is now another one right up around chin high. It's 3-1.
That was that splitter though. Got away from him. I mean, he's just been on the mound a few moments, but you can still see how humid and hot it is. That grip can become a problem.
1 pitch going to be out of play. Boy, you know what, Rick? You go back to what looked like strike 3 on Greg Myers. Would have made it a 1-2-3-8. Suppan might have started the 9th inning. At any rate, they would not have gotten the home run by Myers 1 pitch later. And how that next swing by Myers seemed so innocent at the time. Just made it 4-1 game 4-2, but set the stage for what's happened here in the 9th for Oakland.
I also go back to the top of the 5th when Sanchez got the base hit with the bases loaded and the base running error on the part of the Royals. ended the inning without any more damage. I mean, at that point, it was just a 3-1 ball game. It could have been a lot worse. Sanchez's base hit was important for a lot of reasons. He's the second hitter in the lineup. You got the bases loaded and only one out. You've got the heart of your lineup coming up. You could blow that thing open. Kansas City did not take advantage of it. Oakland just hung on and hung on. Get the big boy to home plate with a chance to tie it. He did it.
They got 1 run on 3 hits and a walk in that 5th inning. And then in the 6th, because of a double play, they got only 1 run on 4 hits. So opportunities to make this a laugher in the mid-innings. Now coming back to haunt Muser and the Royals, while Giambi and the A's bid for the lead with nobody out. Tejada hanging tough at 3-2.
Yeah, he's got to disregard advancing the runner here. Man on the mound is overpowering. He's too tough to give up that at bat with 2 strikes. You've just got to try to put it in play if it's a pitch to do that with. The old base hit or ball 4 philosophy.
Only A-Rod among American League shortstops. More than Tejada's 20 homers and his 61 runs batted in. 3rd pitch in the at-bat. Chin level or higher from Hernandez. So Tejada is aboard. 2 on, nobody out. And the Royals, who will have to hit now, Randa, Ortiz, and Ordaz. At least they are the scheduled Kansas City hitters. They have not done badly. They're 5 for a combined 8 tonight. Well, the closer comes in and closes out nothing. He walks Jeremy Giambi. RBI double by Jason Giambi. RBI double by Long, tie game, and walks Tejada.
And to me, it was all set up by the first pitch to Jeremy Giambi. You've got to make him swing the bat. It was ball 1, ball 2, eventually ball 3 and ball 4. And Jason Giambi just does what he's been doing for the last 5 years. His average, his home runs, his RBIs, everything has gone up. The only thing that has gone down for Jason Giambi the last 4 years has been his errors. He has continued to improve defensively. He said it's important for him to be known as a complete player. Not only a guy that plays defense, but can run the bases, as he's proven tonight. He's got a double. He's got a triple. This game keeps tied. You never know. You might be thinking about that cycle. We saw one Wednesday night with Jeff Bagwell.
Left-hander back up. That's Tony Kogan. Corey Bailey now the right-hander. Grimsley already has pitched the end of the 8th with a strikeout of Menachino to set the stage for Hernandez. Signs, who came on defensively for Chavez in the 7th. Bounce back to Suppan in the 8th, and now he hits with go-ahead run at second. Nobody out. 0-2.
I'm a little bit surprised not seeing a sacrifice here. Laredo Science has done that once this year. Roberto Hernandez has struggled. You turn around, you set up the bunt. If it's not a strike, you let it go. Get that runner from second base to third base. Lots of things can happen. They got to bring the infield in. Don't let Kansas City have a chance to win this in the bottom of the 9th if you're Oakland.
Science just a .219 hitter. He's alive at 0-2. Billy McMillan is on deck. He's 0 for 3 tonight and has never faced Roberto Hernandez. Depending on what happens with Signs here, he may not face Hernandez. He's failed to retire his first 4 batters. User has seen 2 walks and 2 doubles. Tie the game. That's hit a long way, but it will hook foul.
Hernandez saying before tonight's game that he can't believe how hot it is here. That humidity looks to me like it's bothering his split-fingered fastball. He's throwing it too hard. It's coming in at 88, 89 miles an hour. If that thing comes in at 84, 85, Signs would have been out in front of it. It's going to have more movement because of the lack of velocity, and it's going to be more effective along with that 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Another 0-2 is chopped for double play. Sanchez Ordaz And Sweeney, as Long makes third. And the decision not to sacrifice with signs turns into a double play.
Well, I know it's the bottom part of your lineup, but in the American League, you expect everybody to produce. You got a guy, Billy McMillan, that you believe is going to be an offensive player for you. You don't put people in the outfield that cannot produce offense. If you sacrifice them over, you got second and third. You got him up. You got Myers on the on-deck circle, who hit a home run in his last at-bat. Very surprised.
On the right side, fair. Gloved by Sweeney. Hernandez covers. And he finally does get out of the ninth inning. But he turned what was a 4-2 lead into a 4-4 tie. And now his hitters are going to have to try and win it in the bottom of the ninth. Big blows, doubles by Giambi and Long. Tied to the bottom of the ninth we go. 4-4 coming up next here on the Deuce. RPM tonight. Some of you may be tuning in expecting it. Whit Watson will get you caught up on all the latest racing news, including a report from a wild race at the Michigan 500. Also NASCAR news from Loudon, New Hampshire, where Jeff Gordon and Dale Jarrett battle for the Winston Cup points lead. RPM tonight is next. We don't know when that's going to be. It looked like cut and dried Kansas City win. They turned it over to their closer, Roberto Hernandez, who turned it into a 4-4 tie, and now the A's turn it over to Jim Messier.
Well, the saddest part about the blown save for Kansas City is the tremendous pitching performance by tonight's starter, Jeff Suppan. He deserved a victory. Could have been a lot more offense. A lot of things could have happened for Kansas City that just didn't.
Messier gets the bottom third of the Kansas City order. Randa, Ortiz, and Ordaz. He has only faced Randa of that group. And Joe is 1 for 4 against him lifetime.
They say he was the MVP of their bullpen the second half of the year last year. Jim Messier made the ball club better. Pitched much better this year than his numbers have indicated. And they say that if Jason Isringhausen chooses to leave via the free agency market, that Messier is an option that Art Howe would have as a closer.
Given him some chances this year, but tied for 30 in blown saves among all major league relievers with 5. 1-2 to Randa. Messier 10 wins last year. Closer for parts of the month of August and September when Isringhausen was struggling. He led the American League with those 10 relief wins. Only 3 losses, ERA under 3. 2-2 to Randa. And Jason just watching, see what might develop from here on in. Off the fists, and a weak pop-up handled by Messier. Retire Randa. Brent Maine will pinch hit for Hector Ortiz.
Your attention, please.
Ortiz was 3 for 3. 3 singles. And he was also thrown out at the plate on that play where Sanchez single looked like he was going to drive into Ortiz and send Sadler to third. Instead, Sadler caught a rundown, and Ortiz thrown out trying to score. 8-4-2.
Maine back home again. Former #1 pick for Kansas City.
Hits it well to center. Damon back with a look. Can't get it off the wall. Now chases it halfway back to second. Turning for 3 is Maine, and with a headlong slide, he's safe.
Couple of things really surprising here. Johnny Damon playing so shallow. With 1 out, you want to play deep. Keep the ball in front of you. You do not want to let the ball get over your head. Not only did Damon let it get over his head once, but he did it twice. It should have been just a double. It hits off the wall. Damon knows he can't get to it. Now position yourself to catch the carom. He ran too deep. He got too close to a wall that he knows well. And because of that, when it got over his head, Maine was able to hustle to third. And now the winning run just 90 feet away.
With one out. And another pinch hitter. Maine sliding in ahead of that throw. Luis Alicea, a .283 hitter with a home run and 19 driven in. He will pinch hit for Luis Ordaz, who was 0 for 2.
0 for 16 on the year against Oakland this year, but he hit well against them last year.
Winning run at third with one out. And he takes ball one. Brent Maine with his first triple of the year. One out shot to straightaway center field to give Kansas City a chance to win it in the bottom of the ninth. Alicea trying to get it deep to score, and this shouldn't be anywhere near deep enough. McMillan for out number 2, and Maine does not even bluff. So Alicea unable to do the job, and with 2 outs, another pinch hitter out the on-deck circle, Raul Ibanez, who will hit for Donnie Sadler.
I don't know if he's going to get a chance to hit here. They might try to let Ray Sanchez, even though he's got 2 RBIs on the night, with just 25 on the year. Ibanez has been a heck of a pickup for the Kansas City Royals. 300, good power. Right-hander versus left-hander, and I'm sure that's what Rick Peterson's coming out to check with his veteran reliever about. Who do you want here? You know, you might, if he was still on second base, you might try to get him to chase some off-speed stuff, not give in to him. But because of the ball being misplayed in center field, with him being at third, you can't take a chance on that with a wild pitch costing you the ball game.
Ibanez last night tied his career high with 3 hits. Made him a .300 hitter. He's hitting 15 of his last 21 games. .415, 5 homers, 15 RBIs in that 21-game span. 400 over his last 26. So, as hot a bat as Tony Musier can go to in a game-deciding situation. You see how Messier decides to deal with him with Ray Sanchez, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And a hard line drive out to right last time on deck. He comes right at him. And Maine, winning run. A 1-out triple.
Messier, a good sinker along the lines of Jeff Tam, but his out pitch is a screwball. One of the old-fashioned pitches that he let Ibanez off with. Got a little slider, which he'll throw from time to time, but his out pitch is that screwball.
A lot of pressure taken off by getting Alicea to pop to short left. Outfield normal depth. 2-0 pitch. Didn't miss by much. He did it all. 3 balls and no strikes. So the bat that's been hot for a long time, Ibanez, followed by the bat that's hot tonight, Sanchez.
I don't know why anybody would want to manage all of these decisions. And it really doesn't matter what you do because it comes down to players. The game always has been and always will be about players. You get good ones, you're going to win.
And you can win your division, and people are still talking about your job being up for grabs the next year. Who needs it? Having said that, you'd know you'd make a great manager, wouldn't you?
This is so much easier.
Ibanez will walk. Messier pitching very carefully to Raul, and so runners on the corners. Of course, the only one that means anything is Maine down at third, and Ray Sanchez can decide the game.
Jason Giambi coming in to tell Jim Messere, no chance of miscommunication there. I'm playing behind him at first. We don't care if he takes off and goes to second. He means nothing.
Three for 4 tonight. Earlier this year had a career-high 21-game hitting streak. Two runs batted in. He gets a third. He'll make Kansas City a winner. First pitch right down the middle.
Well, you like seeing that in the Kansas City dugout. Even though they lost their 60th game last night, Tony Muser's team still playing hard, still wanting to win.
One pitch is fair, and Kansas City wins it. Maine comes home 5-4 Royals.
Well, you got to wonder if the ball was not misplayed in center. Olmedo signs at third base would not have to have been that short, respecting the bunt. He could have played a little bit deeper. He might have been able to take another step and gotten to that ball. But just really a sloppily played game, a game that Oakland needed to win to stay in this thing. Are they buyers or sellers before the trading deadline? If they continue to lose games like this, Jason Giambi may be on his way somewhere else.
They're now 5 out in the wild card. 4 hits, 3 RBIs. Sanchez provides the game winner.
Look at where the third baseman was. He had to guard the line. If he would have been deeper, he might have got a glove on it. He had a forced play at second. A lot of things could have happened. They did not. And you can see the dejection on the part of Art Howe. And that doesn't happen a whole lot here in Kansas City. Tony Muser's hoping it happens a lot more.
Not much to celebrate in the 2001 season, so they will enjoy this one. And especially Ray Sanchez on a 4-hit night, driving in 3 of the 5 Kansas City runs. Coming up to next will be RPM Tonight. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. A's tie in the 9th and lose it in the 9th. 5-4 again, our final. For Rick Sutcliffe and our entire ESPN crew, Dave Barnett, saying so long on a hot night from Kansas City, and stay tuned for RPM Tonight.